Temperatures in the upper 70s on a picturesque September afternoon. The Ravens and the Bengals, and we are ready here in Baltimore on CBS. Marvin Lewis, a man who knows this town very, very well. So many years as their top-flight defensive coordinator. Begins year 12 now, the second longest tenured head coach behind only Bill Belichick. There is his counterpart, John Harbaugh, 7th season in Baltimore, trying to get this team back into the postseason after missing out for the first time since taking over in 2008. Brandon Tate back, Justin Tucker booms it away, and we're underway in Baltimore. Tate signals fair catch, and Andy Dalton and the Bengals will come out 1st and 10 from their own 20. 3 straight trips, first Bengals quarterback to ever accomplish that in franchise history. All the talk, Solomon, about his postseason failures, but a lot of good to talk about with Andy Dalton, who begins year 4 today.
And his new offensive coordinator, Hugh Jackson, has challenged him to go from being good to being great, to be a leader in the offense. Today, you're going to see some no-huddle. They're going to put the game in the hands of Andy Dalton, but he's got a lot of weapons on this offense at his disposal.
Giovanni Bernard starts his 2nd NFL season, now a frontline, undisputed #1 running back for the first time in his brief career. 1st and 10, here's Dalton. Over the middle, it's caught. That's A.J. Green just shy of the 30. Brought down after a pickup of 9, and a good start for this Bengals offensive front. Russell Bodine, the rookie center. How'd you like to make your first start against this Baltimore defense with that vaunted front? A.J. Green just making a catch. 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons to begin his career. A historic start for the 26-year-old man out of Georgia. Dalton from the gun on 2nd and 1. Little screen pass to the near side. That is Mohamed Sanu taking over that #2 wide receiver spot with Marvin Jones still out with that broken foot. We mentioned the defensive front. Haloti Ngata sliding over after the departure of Arthur Jones, the 5-time Pro Bowler. Terrell Suggs needing no introduction, and C.J. Mosley, this rookie who they have been so high on out of Alabama, and Shockey Brown in. Darius Webb still out, didn't play at all in the preseason with that lower back injury. A late scratch today. On 1st down, they go draw to Bernard. Minimal pickup across the 40. Tackle made by the rookie, C.J. Mosley.
And already, Spiro, we're seeing the Cincinnati Bengals go no huddle with Andy Dalton. We told you they were going to put the game in his hands. This gives him the ability to read the defense at the line of scrimmage, get the offense in the most advantageous play, and then watch how quickly he gets rid of the ball. Now in I formation, you expect them to pound the running game, but they even move out of it.
Bernard splits out bottom of your picture. This is Dalton, 2nd and 6. Off the seam, and Green nearly upended. Unable to make what would have been a circus catch. Shockey Brown, the 4th-year man, was there in the coverage with Matt Elam.
Well, every time you talk to the Bengals, they say that, A.J. Green is going to draw, look, 3, triple coverage, certainly double coverage. And Andy Dalton has to be able to find other people with the one-on-one matchups and allow Mohamed Sanu, Tyler Eifert, Jermaine Gresham, other weapons within the offense to produce against one-on-one coverage.
Third and 6. Dalton just kind of flushes it away. Penalty marker flies. Far sideline.
Offense number 84. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
That's Gresham. And they'll mark off the yardage after the Cincinnati penalty.
Gresham's got to be more patient. This Cincinnati Bengals offense has gotten off to a great start in the preseason. Dalton completed 70% of his passes, but you can see on the road in this environment, you don't get this in the preseason.
3rd and 11. Ravens coming on the blitz. Bernard on a screen pass close to the 50-yard line, and enough to move the chains. What a play by Bernard. 16 yards and a 1st down.
Well, Hugh Jackson said he was going to give his 2nd-year talented running back. This is going to be Giovanni Bernard. He slips over to the left. He's lined up almost as if he's a wide receiver in the slot, but yet the offensive linemen are athletic enough to get out there and provide a screen. And get out in front of Bernard so he can pick up the first down.
Bernard last year over 1,200 yards from scrimmage, third among all NFL rookies. Here he is again, screen pass far side, makes the first guy miss inside Ravens territory. Darryl Smith able to force him out of bounds. And there is Hugh Jackson, so much secrecy in terms of what kind of system, Sally, he would run here. He's been a run-heavy coordinator. We've seen him throw it a lot.
Yeah, and we haven't seen him run it but once so far in 6 offensive plays.
This is 2nd and 6. Draw play, that is Bernard inside the Baltimore 40-yard line, and it looks like enough for another first down after a pickup of 7.
And this is what we saw in the preseason from the Cincinnati Bengals offense. Great rhythm, really good chemistry. They had the penalty on Jermaine Gresham, and Hugh Jackson and his offense able to overcome it. On 3rd and 11, they converted by getting the ball in the hands of Gio Bernard, and now you can see they're off and running against this defense on the road. This is a very impressive first drive to start the season.
8th play of the drive. This is 1st and 10. Little trickery into round. A.J. Green leapfrogging over one defender and brought down at the 35-yard line. It's Darryl Smith. Pickup of 5 for Green.
Oh, A.J. Green, line to the right, just off the hip of Jermaine Gresham. Comes around, and look, he sees the seam. And watch how he attacks it. Now you got to get down. You know, he's a talented player. If you're going to give him opportunities to run the ball, he's got to really be smart. Don't want to get him hurt, but this is football. Getting the ball in the hands of many of the playmakers, that's something that you're going to see Hugh Jackson do very well in a very creative fashion.
Now, Green has had some memorable moments in this stadium. That Hail Mary touchdown at the end of their meeting here last year to send the game to overtime, and a good-looking drive for Hugh Jackson, and Cincinnati continues on CBS. 9th play of this game-opening drive for Cincinnati, high above M&T Bank Stadium. Spiro Dita, Solomon Wilcots, our entire CBS crew. This is 2nd and 5. Dalton has time, which is throw it away. And Dalton, Solomon, had to listen to all the naysayers, his playoff failures during the offseason, and rightfully so. Didn't play well against the Chargers, but so much good to talk about for a kid just 3 years into his career.
But you see where he ranks all time in his first 3 seasons coming out of college in terms of completions, passing yards, and passing touchdowns. His names show up on some historical lists with the likes of Dan Marino and Peyton Manning in terms of guys who've gotten off to a great start immediately coming out of college.
Where does Dalton go here? 4 wides on 3rd and 5. Near side. And it is caught just outside the 30-yard line. That's the tight end, Tyler Eifert, who was a question mark, dealing with a shoulder strain during the preseason. And so Cincinnati well short of the first down.
And if you're going to double A.J. Green, there's a lot of weapons. We talked about it. Tyler Eifert, we've seen Mohamed Sanu get involved. A.J. Green, of course, and Gio Bernard catching it coming out of the backfield. The drive stalls here, but it's an impressive drive, I think, for the Bengals coming out on the road to start the season here in Baltimore.
Mike Nugent on to attempt a 49-yard kick. It is far enough, and it is good. So Cincinnati, a nice-looking opening drive to start the season. Salvage 3 points in the early going on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. Verizon, more live games than ever before with NFL Mobile. And by the Lincoln Motor Company and the first ever MKC.
Some of the sights outside M&T Bank Stadium. Good-looking drive for the Cincinnati Bengals. They cover 49 yards. Solomon, they stalled a bit, but Mike Nugent able to bang in that 49-yard field goal to give them the early 3-0 lead.
And Gio Bernard was huge on the drive with 2 runs and then 2 receptions as well.
Jacoby Jones, Pro Bowler a couple of years ago during that Super Bowl season. So dangerous in this spot. Jones trying to find a seam. And force him out of bounds short of the 15-yard line. Well played by that kickoff team of Cincinnati. And here comes Joe Flacco, the New Jersey native, starting year 7 in the NFL. How does he bounce back from what was his worst statistical season as a pro, the 22 interceptions a year ago that Solomon mentioned? And that will be the #1 determining factor, how he performs, Solly, and how far this team goes. The penalty marker thrown on the kick.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Receiving team, number 11. Half the distance to the goal. First down, Baltimore.
Now, that's the backup wide receiver, Kamar Aiken, as John Harbaugh gets the explanation. And that'll pin Baltimore back even further, just outside their own 5.
It's not the way you want to start, but they have a capable quarterback, as you mentioned, in Joe Flacco. 9 quarterbacks to start their 7th consecutive opening day start since 2008.
Kyle Juszczyk, the fullback, making his first career start. The man in motion. Flacco goes play action, rolling out. It's going to throw it across his body, and it's incomplete. Trying to get it out to the 30-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 10. Jeremy Zuta, the one real new lone face on that offensive front, acquired him in a trade with Tampa Bay, replaces Gino Gradkowski, who really struggled last year at the center, and Steve Smith starts the new chapter in what has been an illustrious NFL career, 13 years at Carolina. And there's Gary Kubiak, his 8-year run as the Houston head coach ending, and they are awfully excited to have Kubiak calling the plays here for the Ravens. 2nd and 10, second straight play action pass. It's caught. That's the tight end, Dennis Pitta. Nice little cutback maneuver across the 10 and brought down at the 14-yard line. A pickup of 8. Terrence Newman up to make the tackle for Cincinnati. Defensive starters, Geno Atkins, just 7 games a year ago before tearing his ACL. He is back, just 1 half of play in the preseason. We mentioned Vontaze Burfict, Ray Maluga, their second leading tackler each of the last 3 years, and this secondary as experienced as any other in the NFL. Leon Hall back from his 2nd Achilles tear he has endured in the last 3 years. This is 3rd and 2 from inside the 15. Justin Forsett will fake the handoff to him. It is caught, and a couple of late markers have thrown. Steve Smith brought down, and this one against the defense, Solomon, and this one will hurt.
It looks like it could be a face mask on Leon Hall as he's trying to tackle Steve Smith to the ground. And Steve Smith is a very feisty player, and you got to bring everything you got to get him on the ground.
Face mask, grabbing of the helmet opening. Defense, 15 yards, first down. Good call.
Not so sure it was intentional, but nonetheless, you can see right here as he makes the catch. There's 29 Leon Hall, and see right there, grabs the helmet to secure the tackle.
The foul was 55.
They actually call it on Vontaze Burfict, but you can clearly see right there, there's the grabbing and grasping of the helmet by Leon Hall.
It didn't take long for Steve Smith to impact the game. 1st and 10 after the penalty. This is Pierce. Dances to the outside. He's to the 35-yard line and brought down at the 36 by the linebacker Emmanuel Lemur. And Steve Smith had a chance to visit with him on Friday, taking that next step. Still strange, Solomon, to see him in a Baltimore Ravens uniform. Says he's still adjusting. You're in one place for so long. Have to find a new way to get to work. Knew all the shortcuts, of course, in Carolina.
New team, new teammates, new players and coaches, and he's got a quarterback in Joe Flacco. He said hope, though, is realistic here in Baltimore.
2nd and 7. This is Forsett, acquired in the offseason from Jacksonville after that 1-year contract. Smith told us he took the wrong exit a couple of weeks ago trying to get to the airport. But all the things you don't have to think about when you're in one city for so long, he has had to in making his transition.
Yeah, he played there for over a decade in Carolina, but he brings to this team, I think, what was lost in the absence of an Anquan Boldin, who helped him win a Super Bowl 2 years ago. The toughness, that veteran leadership, and the guy that's got that determination. You put the ball in his area, he's going to come down with it. He brings some of those same qualities to the offense, into that room with a wide receiver.
Flacco on 3rd and 5. It's caught over the middle. Smith then lost it. They roll an incomplete pass. Smith needing to get to about the 44-yard line for the first down. It is knocked down, and Baltimore will punt.
And just as we said, he'll catch it and come down with it. Look at it. It's on the hands. He's got to hold on to it, but look at the hit by Leon Hall, separating the wide receiver legally from the football. He was not in a defenseless position as he turned around, could not haul it in. Good play by the defense there.
Brandon Tate back deep to receive the punt from Sam Koch. Tate signals fair catch just outside the 15-yard line, and that is where Andy Dalton and the Cincinnati offense will come back onto the field after the 46-yard punt. Fantasy football fans, if you want the best games, there's still time to play on the most awarded site there is. Create or join the league now at cbssports.com/football. Some of the beautiful pictures. A look high above Inner Harbor here in downtown Baltimore. 3-0 Cincinnati with just under 8 minutes to play in this opening quarter. Andy Dalton from the gun. Fakes the draw play. Sneaks forward to the 20. And they pick up some positive yardage. We've been waiting to see, Solomon, what this offense is going to look like. Going a little bit no huddle here.
Yeah, going no huddle. We got some read option from Andy Dalton. What did Terrell Suggs tell us about Andy Dalton? That he's more mobile than what most people would think if you saw him there. Now look at this. Little I formation with Dalton under center.
Eifert in motion. This is 2nd and 7. Dalton's pass is caught, and it's Eifert. Forced out of bounds. Plenty of yards for the first down. Good-looking throw from Dalton. 21 yards up the far side.
Easy Eifert. He's just going to go outside of Gresham. You got the two tight ends to the same side, and Eifert's wide open. The defense rotated towards Gresham, and then Andy Dalton's able to find the open Eifert on the sideline.
Dalton on 1st and 10, nowhere to throw, just tucks it away. And this was the concern, Solomon, for Baltimore. This secondary, all the injuries that they've had to deal with. Their top 3 cornerbacks all missing significant time in the preseason, and no Webb still out with a back injury.
Yeah, Webb missed the entire preseason. Shockey Brown starting in his stead, and even their other starting corner, Jimmy Smith, missed their final 2 preseason games.
Smith suffering a chest contusion after a preseason game with Dallas. What a spin by Bernard, who has looked awfully dynamic in this opening quarter. That time a little spin run for 6.
Asa Jackson, 25, comes up and whiffs, grabbing air. Watch the spin move by Gio Bernard right there. And then he's able to get to the 2nd level. Takes the 3rd defender, Jimmy Smith, to get him on the ground. He is a threat to take it to the house anytime he touches it. But you can't donate 2 defenders to him because they have so many weapons in the offense who can also make those kind of plays.
3rd and 2. They mark it just inside the 48. Dalton, not sure if there was a miscommunication, but the play breaks down. And Baltimore's defense holds on 3rd down.
And see, if you got to read the in man on line of scrimmage. He comes down, then you keep the ball. And so you got to get outside on that play, and Dalton tried to run it inside. It was a great read on the read option. He saw Suggs come down inside. He's got to keep it. He can't give it to the running back when that defensive end comes crashing hard inside. After he pulled it out of the belly of the back, though, he's got to bounce it and run wide with it.
So Cincinnati sends out.
With the game clock operator, please reset the game clock to 5 minutes, 15 seconds. 5:15 on the game clock, please.
Give credit to Coach Harbaugh's defense for coming up with the stop there on 3rd down. Trying to get the ball back for his offense. The Bengals have dominated time of possession here in the 1st quarter of play.
Kevin Huber standing around his own 35-yard line. The left-footed kicker boots it away. Jacoby Jones signals fair catch. Has it at around his own 17-yard line. 36-yard punt by Huber. Flacco back onto the field. Ravens down 3-0. Aerial coverage of today's game being provided by MetLife. Some incredible pictures high atop M&T Bank Stadium. Joe Flacco and the Ravens back onto the field. This is 1st and 10. Bernard Pierce, just the 2nd start of his young NFL career. The Ray Rice 2-game suspension officially beginning today. And he said it himself, his teammates having his back this week, talking with the media. This the biggest moment, Solomon, of his young career.
Well, he understands it's an opportunity over the next couple of weeks to assert himself. Had really good preseason where he ran the ball very well, over 4 yards per carry, but last year struggled. And now with the opportunity, he's got to prove that he can carry the offense in the absence of Ray Rice.
We've seen a lot of play action from Flacco already. That short pass thrown right at the feet of Juszczyk, the second-year fullback out of Harvard. And Flacco will face a 3rd and 7.
And Flacco seems to be a little out of sorts here. There's been opportunities he's had. Juszczyk over in the flat where he didn't hit him when he was open. There's been other receivers open at times, and you can tell just the offense not clicking for Gary Kubiak in the early going.
Flacco just 2 for 5 so far, 11 yards. We'll see what he has in store here for the defense on 3rd and 7. Protect Flacco. His pass not even close. And Sam Cook again will come on to punt.
Well, therein lies part of the frustration. What did Flacco tell us about Torrey Smith? Doesn't always trust him in the underneath. See him in the slot here, watch him slip and fall. Talked about coming out of the break. And see, that's the anticipated throw for Flacco, was that Torrey Smith would come out of the break, standing up and hit the mark. Quarterback's got to be able to trust the receiver to be where they're supposed to be when the ball arrives.
Cook, the Pro Bowl alternate back in 2010. Adam Jones fields the punt. Little juke step, breaks to the outside. Jones has some real estate inside Baltimore territory. Still going, and finally brought down inside the 30. A 44-yard return. Mosley finally got to him for Baltimore.
Adam Jones is slippery as they come as a punt returner. He's been known to break off one just when you least expect it. And he seemed to be a little lackadaisical. He's going to veer back. And then look, he takes off, and look at the burst. Look at the blocking out in front as he hits the sideline. He's able to, look, make the punter miss there. And what a wonderful return. Just a nice little juke. That little pause, slight hesitation, not only pauses the defenders, but it sets up blocks as well.
Can Dalton and company now capitalize on a short field inside the 30? This is 1st and 10. Dalton near side, Bernard wide open. Inside the 25, forced out of bounds, and just a good pace so far to what this offense has looked like in this opening quarter.
And don't you notice a different tone and tempo to the offense other than what, say, Gary Kubiak and Joe Flacco and what you're getting from the Baltimore Ravens offense? Remember, both teams come in with new offensive coordinators. However, Hugh Jackson had been with this football team. He even coached for a period of time, Spiro, on the defensive side of the ball 2 years ago.
Now, Jackson was the quarterback's coach here when Flacco came into the league as a rookie. Very familiar with this franchise. 2nd down and 4 over the middle. It's Eifert again. Second catch for the tight end, and he looks like he's hurt. In a world of pain as he clutches that right elbow. 14-yard hookup. But now the obvious concern on Eifert. Bengals will have it 1st and 10 as the trainers come onto the field for the Bengals. Bengals tight end Tyler Eifert being escorted into the locker room. What appeared to be a very gruesome hit to his right elbow. We're going to spare you the replay as they have it 1st down and goal inside the 10. This is Gio Bernard. As Eifert took a helmet, Solomon, right to that right elbow, and he is in a world of pain.
Yeah, he's going to go in. 3 catches, 37 yards, and we talked about the multitude of weapons around Andy Dalton. He's spreading it around. We've seen Eifert catch it. We've seen Gio Bernard, A.J. Green, Mohamed Sanu. He's sharing the ball, and right now it has this defense for the Ravens off balance. They don't know where the ball is going to go, and Andy Dalton's playing at a high level.
Baltimore.
So much so that the Ravens have to burn a timeout here. Something that they didn't like. And right now, John Harbaugh's Ravens, Solomon, on their heels. It's the premier Thursday night football on CBS and the NFL Network. It kicks off this Thursday when Pittsburgh takes on the Ravens in another AFC North matchup. Football starts here.
Get a double dose of Baltimore Ravens. You can see the battle for the AFC North. Steelers and the Ravens in their series history. You know that's going to be a tough, hard-hitting game coming up on Thursday night.
Bengals, the champions of the AFC North, first divisional crown since 2009, looking for what would be a monstrous win to start the season. 2nd and goal, Bernard cutting back. Nowhere to go. Defensive front holds as they bring him down right around the line of scrimmage.
We're seeing them run the football, and here it's 3rd and goal. We're getting it to Gio Bernard. We've yet to see the rookie, Jeremy Hill, but it's really Andy Dalton. He's reading the defense. He's looking at the most advantageous defense for running the football. 6 in the box. He's going to check to the run. Right now, no one in the backfield with Dalton.
Mohamed Sanu and Brandon Tate among the 4 wide receivers set. That's Bernard flashed up top of your screen. Dalton looked to him, kept it himself, and going nowhere. Well short. It'll be 4th and goal. Chris Canty got there first.
Now, when do you want to take off with that quarterback draw? That's when they come screaming up the field. Let's see if they get that. I don't think they do. I think, look at them. Everyone stays on the line of scrimmage. That means Dalton has to back up, and he's got to find a receiver to throw it to. If you don't see a quick, fast rush from the defense, there's no way you're going to be able to run that quarterback draw and get into the end zone.
Nugent hit from 49 yards earlier. This is a little chip shot from 22. His punter, Kevin Huber, to hold. Nugent's kick is good. So that Adam Jones 44-yard punt setting the table, gave Dalton a short field, and they build on their lead. 6-0 Cincinnati, but a small victory for that Ravens defense. Well, Jim Nance hosts a Star Pack special celebrating NFL football and classic moments in prime time under the lights. Comes your way Wednesday on CBS. We're told Tyler Eifert is out with an elbow injury, return unlikely, and look at the discrepancy in field position.
Yeah, Hugh Jackson's got his offense cooking. Look, 9 offensive plays for the Bengals in Baltimore territory, and the Baltimore Ravens offense for Gary Kubiak, 9 plays total for his offense. So they've got to get something going.
Nugent on to boot it away. Jacoby Jones comes up, Fields on the run, and here he comes. He's out past the 15 to the 20. Cuts back near side, and Jones run out of bounds at about the 23-yard line. A little bit upset. Felt like he had some more room, but they quickly converged. Taylor Mays, the backup safety, making the tackle. So already, you get the sense that there's a lot on the shoulders, Solomon, of Joe Flacco. The running game last season, abysmal. Rushed for a franchise worst 1,300 yards. Of course, no Ray Rice. And now where do they go here with the offense struggling in the early stages?
Well, I think the key, you have to get the run game going. Remember, Kubiak's offense, that zone stretch, get the run game going, get some play action going, but the receivers got to run the right routes.
Dennis Pitta, the man in motion, 1st and 10. Flacco has gone almost exclusively to the play action on his pass plays. That's Justin Forsett. Brought down across the 25-yard line, a pickup of 4. Perfect on the stop.
Well, Torrey Smith was the speed to clear it out. Remember Justin Forsett? He's one of those running backs that played in Kubiak's system for the Houston Texans, playing with Arian Foster and Ben Tate. He was one of those 3rd running backs, comes over here very familiar with the system in terms of how to run that zone stretch. And right now, he's in the game for Bernard Pierce.
Forsett coming over, as we mentioned, from Jacksonville, 7th year in the league. There's the running back out of Cal across the 30-yard line. A couple of yards short of that first down marker. As we come up on the end of this opening quarter, and the Ravens down 6. There's Gary Kubiak, entrusted with turning around this offense that had so many issues last season. We'll see if they run a play here. Jones in motion. 3rd and 1. Over the middle, nearly picked. Off the hands of Perfect, and a late marker coming in from the far side.
Looked like there was some collision with Torrey Smith, who was breaking free and coming open on the play. Was it incidental contact, or was it after the ball had been tipped? If it's after the ball had been tipped, then they're going to pick the flag up. If it was prior to the ball being touched by a defender, then we'll have to wait and see what they're going to rule. They're huddling up, but they do have that microphone and communication device where they can communicate without a huddle. So we'll have to wait for Gene Steratore to make the call.
Well, this, of course, one of the main points of emphasis the NFL rulebook during the offseason, the defensive holding, all the interference variations.
There's no foul for illegal contact. There's an incomplete forward pass. It was fourth down Baltimore, and that is the end of the first quarter.
There you have it. So they pick up the flag, and that takes us to the end of the first quarter. Cincinnati 6, Baltimore nothing. We'll return to Baltimore after these messages. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Start of the second quarter as the NFL on CBS continues. We're in Baltimore, 6-0 Bengals. And what is a enormous game for both of these teams to begin the season. Two teams that know each other so well. Cincinnati, the reigning champions in the AFC North, and so far dominant, maybe not on the scoreboard, Solomon, but certainly with how the offenses have looked so far.
Oh, yeah, Cincinnati Bengals come here on the road where they have lost 4 straight here at M&T Bank Stadium, and then on opening day where the Ravens have been dominant here in the home. So now the Cincinnati Bengals have gotten off to a good start. Joe Flacco in the new offense by Gary Kubiak. You can tell they're struggling, and they're trying to find some rhythm and pacing within their system.
There's Sam Cook, the 9th-year punter, standing inside his own 20. Brandon Tate back deep at his own 24. As Solomon mentioned, they have been dominant here in home openers, 8 straight, 6 in a row under John Harbaugh. And they have won 14 consecutive home games in the month of September. But this is a different animal that they're going up against the Cincinnati Bengals. How about our wisdom of Solomon as we kick off the new season?
In a league full of great quarterbacks, how about last year, the Super Bowl winning Seattle Seahawks had the highest percentage of run plays of any team in the league. Second was the 49ers, going to 3 straight NFC title games. And how about the Ravens trying to get back to it? They led the league in rushing in the preseason. Giovanni Bernard and Jeremy Hill are 2 running backs that are going to help the Bengals get back to wanting to run the football. And if you want to win, you've got to be able to run the football. Take a look at the numbers for those teams that have gone into the playoffs, averaging almost 30 rushing attempts per game and well over 125 rushing yards per game.
It's such a copycat league. You wonder if Seattle has started the trend back the other way. Here's Dalton on 1st and 10, slings it near side. It's caught by Green. Now past the 40-yard line, a pickup of 8 yards. You know, a lot of talk. We mentioned Andy Dalton, the postseason failures, but A.J. Green has also, as good as he's been, Solomon, during the regular season, he's had some shortcomings in the playoffs as well.
Well, he is great, and as good as he is, the Cincinnati Bengals still saying, we want to improve the run game, knowing they have a great player like A.J. Green.
This is 2nd and short. This is Jeremy Hill, the young rookie out of LSU, who they are so high on, taking over for the departed Ben Jarvis Green Ellis, a new power backup role, and they think he's going to have a long career.
We talked about it, adding Jeremy Hill to that backfield, already a talented runner like Giovanni Bernard. And Gio said that he's never really been a primary running back anywhere where he has been, so he's used to sharing time. He said, I catch it so well, I know that Jeremy Hill is going to be an excellent addition. He's going to extend my career.
This is 1st and 10. They put Dalton in the gun. It's caught. Brandon Tate close to another Bengals first down. Crosses midfield. 9 yards to the air. Tackle made by Darryl Smith and Shockey Brown.
How about the Cincinnati Bengals? Look, they have just another weapon. And there you see him coming across the backfield, and they're able to get him open. Look, with 2 blockers on 2 defenders. That's how you get a runner to the second level. Marvin Lewis said that we've got a number of different ways of running the football. Look at the block by A.J. Green and Mohamed Sanu down the field. That's another way of essentially running the football with a wide receiver.
Bernard still getting the blow. They fake initially, and it is taken by Hill. Fake the defense. That is a Cincinnati first down, 9 yards for the rookie. And this is Jeremy Hill, a kid who didn't get a lot of looks the first couple of weeks of the preseason, but then came through 160 yards of total offense in that preseason finale against the Colts.
In that final game, he was phenomenal. He got a lot of touches, had to prove to Marvin Lewis he was deserving of being the bell cow. He proved he can run it, he proved he could catch it, he proved he can run in between the tackles.
It's a kid who lives and breathes football, born in Baton Rouge, started LSU. That is Mohamed Sanu, the 3rd-year man out of Rutgers. Inside the 30. Solomon, how impressed have you been with the game call so far from Hugh Jackson.
I'm impressed with the offense. Hugh Jackson has a wonderful tempo and pacing to the offense. It's up-tempo. You don't know where the ball is going. He's got a number of different players he's putting on the field, and every single guy is getting an opportunity to touch the football, all being set up and run by the quarterback, Andy Dalton.
Dalton is 11 for 13, just over 100 yards. As this Baltimore defense right now still on its heels. Minimal gain up the middle from the rookie Hill.
And they're just keeping this Baltimore Ravens defense on the field, starting to wear them down. And you can see these guys have been on the field. They were so good 1 year ago on third down, and today they're struggling to get off the field on third down.
Now, John Harbaugh said that he felt like they were actually improved defensively last season. The year after they won the Super Bowl in 2012, Bernard back onto the field on 2nd and 7 from the 26. Dalton somehow gets it off to Bernard. Andy Dalton with a magic trick.
I got to give you credit for the Baltimore Ravens. They pour in on Andy Dalton. I don't know how he gets rid of this ball and get it over to Gio Bernard. Look at the pressure immediately just caving in that right side. And look, he gets it off. And still there's defenders there to tackle Gio Bernard.
Late hit, defense number 57. Half the distance to the goal, automatic.
C.J. Mosley on the rookie from Alabama.
Well, it was Pernell McPhee who had Dalton wrapped up, and the Bengals quarterback somehow got it away. That was Brett Favre-esque. So the late marker will tack on extra yardage. It's against the rookie Mosley, as Solomon points out. And a huge call against the Ravens defense. 1st and 10 from about the 12.
John Harbaugh is livid.
Bernard, the lone setback on 1st and 10. Takes the pitch from Dalton. Follows his lead blockers inside 10. Brought down by the new starting defensive nose tackle, Brandon Williams.
Spiro, take another look at the late hit. You're going to see C.J. Mosley come in at the last minute. He's diving. See right there, hit to the helmet as Gio Bernard was on the ground. It wasn't a malicious hit. Nonetheless, it's about player safety. I think that's something that when you're a college player and you come to the NFL level, that's something that you really got to be able to grasp, the safety rules, because the game is played differently at this level.
Well, Bernard kind of sold it well a little bit, threw his head back. 2nd and 8, Dalton from the gun. All day to throw, incomplete. Intended for the tight end Gresham. Ball was tipped.
And Dalton expected Gresham to come back, to come out of that cut and bounce it to the boundary. You're going to see it. See, he's going to come from here. Now look as he comes back inside. See, go back out. So he's flashed. He wants him to flash in and then go back out. And Gresham didn't finish running the route properly.
Looked like McPhee, the backup linebacker, got a fingertip on it. 3rd and 8 for Cincinnati. Dalton's going to burn a timeout.
Smart timeout. 3rd down, inside the red zone, where the Bengals have been but not been able to cash it in and get into the end zone. You know, sooner or later, this defense is going to stiffen up for the Ravens. Sooner or later, the offense, Spiro, is going to get hot. Hugh Jackson and Andy Dalton, they've got to be able to convert one of these red zone possessions into a touchdown and try to widen their lead here on the road against the Ravens.
Well, it's not too late to play NFL.com Fantasy. Enjoy free new mobile app so you can join, draft, and play from anywhere. Sign up right now at NFL.com/fantasy. Andy Dalton off that new monster contract extension, 6 years, $115 million. Trying to get his Bengals a huge road divisional win on this first Sunday of the new season. One of the biggest plays of this first half so far, 3rd and 8 from the 10.
Gio Bernard has been the weapon of choice, even in the check down, to make plays down inside the red zone.
Dalton, end zone, incomplete. They blanketed Green in the back of the end zone. And once again, they move the football, but have to settle for 3.
Yeah, it's going to be A.J. Green running down the back end of the end zone. Just throw it high where no one could get it. Don't risk the turnover. That's something that Andy Dalton, when we talked to him yesterday, Spiro, he said that's the one area where he can improve. Protect the football and don't turn it over. Keep the points on the board when you have a chance to get the field goal inside the red zone.
Mike Nugent, 2 for 2 so far, this time from 28. And from 49 and 22 earlier. So Cincinnati can't find the end zone, but they build on their lead on CBS. The Big Bang Theory is time traveling to a new night with back-to-back episodes. Don't miss Emmy Award winner Jim Parsons as the new season begins Monday, September 22nd, only CBS. Beautiful Sunday afternoon, first Sunday of the new season. Spiro Diaz, Solomon Wilcox. You see Camden Yards up at the top right of your picture. What a great sports town this is, but right now these Ravens fans a little bit apprehensive with this start.
Well, they've
given up 3 field goals, down 9-0.
Yeah, they saw enough of this last year with the offense being stagnant, not being productive and able to move it. Got to give the Bengals defense a lot of credit. They're playing very well. They're causing confusion in the mind of Joe Flacco. Doing a good job of jamming the receivers at the line of scrimmage.
Jones will try to run from the back of the end zone. Makes a guy miss, streaks up the sideline, and finally forced out of bounds. And finally, Joe Flacco will have some good field position. It was Mike Nugent, the kicker, who forced him out of bounds. Excellent play on the return. Flacco will try to get him on the board next.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. McDonald's, official sponsor of the NFL. I'm loving it. And by the all-new 2015 Acura TLX. It's that kind of thrill.
Well, best field position of the day for Joe Flacco, 1st and 10 from the 40. Flacco over the middle, incomplete. That's the second drop by Steve Smith, and he was wide open.
Yeah, and you have to wonder, now that's the kind of play that derails an offense. If you make the play, it infuses you with confidence, and if you don't make the play, boy, really, that's like a shot to the gut. You start to believe, okay, what's going wrong here because we're not executing and we're not making plays we're accustomed to making.
Justin Forsett onto the field. This is 2nd and 10. Flacco airs it out, far side. His man covered off of his hands. It is intended for Torrey Smith. Well played. Flacco put it in the only place where he could have caught it, but a tough play for Smith.
Yeah, and this is Terrence Newman. Look, he's running side by side, little hand fighting down the sideline there, but he's playing the ball. It's enough to distract Torrey Smith, who do get 2 hands on it and had an opportunity to make the catch, but could not come down with it. Good coverage by Terrence Newman.
This is Baltimore's 4th drive, just 1 first down. They've averaged only 2 yards per play. Flacco from the gun. Here come the Bengals on 3rd and 10. It's incomplete.
Yeah.
The pressure enough. Late markers come in. It'll be an automatic first down as the contact's called against Newman.
So we talk about contact on receivers beyond 5 yards. There could be incidental contact. If the receiver
Pass
pushes
interference. Defense, number 23. Spot on the foul.
There you have it. If the
First
wide
down.
receiver pushes the defensive back can defend himself. But once he passed the 5-yard, look, you got to keep your hands to yourself. Can't grab Jersey. Can't try to keep him from getting to the ball as Terrence Newman did there. You do that, they're going to call it. It's a point of emphasis, and they're going to enforce it strictly here in the 2014 season.
Newman celebrated his 36th birthday this week. They call against their defense there. This is Pierce. Keeps that pile moving across the 40, a pickup of 6.
Take a look at the rule. It says if a defender cannot initiate contact with a receiver who is attempting to evade him, a defender may use his hands or arms only to defend or protect himself against impending contact caused by the receiver. Incidental contact may exist between a receiver and defender, but if you are a defender, you've got to keep your hands to yourself. You certainly can't grab claw.
This is Pierce again. Pretty little juke step made the first guy miss. Across the 35-yard line, 6 more, and only the second first down for the Ravens.
And look, the fans here at M&T Bank Stadium, they come alive. This is what they've been waiting for. They get a penalty on Terrence Newman, but when you start to run the ball, as we saw Bernard Pierce do there, that's what these fans came here to see, and that's what Gary Kubiak came to instill in this offense as their new coordinator.
9-0 Bengals inside the 9-minute mark before halftime. Pierce again, that time is buried in the backfield by Vontaze Burfict.
Wow.
All he did 2 years ago, going undrafted. Last year led the NFL, Solomon, with more than 170 tackles.
He's a sure tackler. He runs through gaps as well as any linebacker I've ever seen. You just saw it there. It's why he makes a lot of tackles in the opposing offense's backfield. And he's also good in coverage. He is the undisputed leader on this defense, was voted captain by the coaches and teammates. You look at their new defensive coordinator, Paul Gumbel.
Rewarded him with a $20 million contract extension. First Bengal to make the Pro Bowl since Jim LeClair. In terms of the linebackers, that time play for his back. Ball tipped by Wallace Gilberry, the starting defensive end out of Alabama.
We talked to Joe Flacco. He said, is this the tallest defensive line you've ever seen? He said, by far. Wallace Gilberry is 6'2". He gets it, but he's one of the short guys because you've got guys like Carlos Dunlap at 6'6", Marcus Hunt at 6'8". Got some tall, long-armed defensive players. Flacco now 0 for 3 in the shotgun throwing the football.
Line him up in the gun again on 3rd and 13. Bengals showing blitz. Flacco flushed out. Is hit just on a release. Was able to get it out just at that last instant. Reggie Nelson and the backup linebacker Vincent Ray on the pressure.
Boy, they get pressure. You can see them coming here. And then just watch even Vincent Ray, 57, coming in the A gap. See, he'll come around. Gilberry contains it. And there's 57, Vincent Ray, coming in, nearly had a sack. Flacco, because he's out of the pocket, Spiro, he can throw this ball away even though there wasn't a true intended receiver in the area. Quarterback can save himself once he gets out of the pocket.
Justin Tucker, first-time Pro Bowler last season, set records in field goals made and attempted. Is going to drive from 55. This one swigs a little right. No good.
Wow. It looked good when it left, but you're right. It started to move on him as he pulls it and unable to come away with points after getting their best field position of the day.
Tonight on 60 Minutes, they aren't even out of middle school and are being recruited to be Division I college quarterbacks. Meet the man developing the next Mannings, only on 60 Minutes tonight. This is as picture perfect a day as these fans could have hoped for. Some of the incredible pictures. High above downtown Baltimore, we welcome you back to M&T Bank Stadium. Spiro Dina, Solomon Wilcots, 9-0 Bengals. They have dominated the stat sheet so far, but only 3 field goals to show for it. This is Bernard on first down. And this Ravens defense, they've given up chunks of yardage, Solomon, but so far they've kept him out of the end zone.
Yeah, you still get the sense that that's something they can hang their hat on, that they're keeping a really good Cincinnati Bengals offense out of the end zone, despite having so much talent. Their defensive coordinator, Dean Pease, he understands we've got to just hang in there until the offense and Joe Flacco can start to heat up. And you get the sense that if Dalton doesn't get it in the end zone, that the Ravens are going to have a chance to get back into this game.
2nd and 10. Dalton's pass is batted down by Haloti Ngata, the 5-time Pro Bowler.
That big guy. What athleticism. 6'4", 340. And can move. Watch this, Spiro. Big number 92. Watch him flash. Getting in the passing lane. Look at him kick vertical. And then he had the finger wave.
Did he just go to Kembe Mutombo?
He did. He go finger wave to Kembe Mutombo in the face of Andy Dalton. Really nice play by Haloti Ngata. 3rd and 10 now. And Dalton cannot risk turning the football over here, Spiro.
20 interceptions last season will burn his 2nd timeout. And Solomon, you like that. You know, make sure they get the right play call. Saw something he didn't like.
Oh, absolutely. You avoid the crucial mistake. You get a Timeout. Take time to talk about it.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by State Farm. Pump up your savings with a discount double check today. And by Microsoft. Introducing Cortana, your new personal assistant.
Well, wouldn't be a trip to Baltimore without some crab cakes. Getting hungry.
Wow. Beautiful sights, wonderful food. Are you kidding me?
Big 3rd and 10. Dalton from the gun. Ravens coming. Blitz gets it out to Gresham inside Baltimore territory and lunges forward for the Cincinnati first down. He picks up a dozen.
Well, they allow the rush to come just flooding in, and they'll just get this one. See, here's Gresham here, and he'll just attack up the field after sinking in the backfield and then waiting. Look, he sinks like he's going to block, and look at the convoy of blockers out in front of him. He attacks what we call the sticks. He knows where that first down marker is, Spiro. He gets vertical. Didn't waste any time getting to the first down marker.
Gresham, the 2-time Pro Bowler, 5th year out of Oklahoma, 1st and 10 from the Baltimore 43. Dalton goes play action. There's it at far side. It's caught. That's Sanu. Inside the 20, right at another first down, 13 more yards.
Mohamed Sanu. Now watch the timing of this throw. Top of his route, he snaps and comes back to the ball. That's the smart thing to do. Drive back to the ball. Now Sanu is the starter opposite of A.J. Green. They're without their other talented receiver, Marvin Jones, who had a heck of a season with 10 touchdown receptions 1 year ago.
Offset eye to the left. This is Bernard on 1st and 10. They bury him. Suggs getting there first. 2011 Defensive Player of the Year, 6-time Pro Bowler, dumps him for a loss of 5.
You knew Suggs would make his presence felt. But watch him here against, that's Andrew Whitworth, comes underneath. Seldom can you come underneath the tackle that way and still make that play. If Bernard gets outside of it, well, he's going to run for a long run, and Suggs is going to be chided by the coaching staff and Coach Harbaugh. If you come underneath, you better make that play in the backfield.
Suggs now the longest tenured player on this Ravens team. 2nd and 15 after his tackle. Dalton going to take a shot. Near side end zone, incomplete. Tipped down by Jimmy Smith, playing with that chest contusion that Solomon mentioned early. And that secondary, bending but not breaking.
Yeah, he's a former first-round pick. If there's anyone who could be a shutdown corner on this defense, along with Ladarius Webb, it's Jimmy Smith. Stays on top, plays the ball perfectly, nearly made the catch for an interception. At no point was Brandon Tate open, and Jimmy Smith had this covered every step of the way. Nearly intercepted the throw from Dalton.
Well, Terrell Suggs said, don't sleep on Jimmy Smith. Could be the next Pro Bowler produced by this Ravens defense. Little sidearm delivery to Sanu again. Sanu has had an active role in this first half, 6 yards across the 30, but well short of that first down marker.
And did you see that previous graphic? 36 offensive plays for the Cincinnati Bengals offense and only 36 total yards of offense for the Baltimore Ravens. Right now, the Cincinnati Bengals dominating time of possession. They're doing a really good job of not pressing to make the big play and allowing themselves and Mike Nugent to put points on the board by way of field goal attempts.
Well, Nugent last year attempted the fewest field goals of any kicker who played all 16 games, just 22 attempts. He's had 4 already in this first half, and he's perfect.
Well, the reason why is because Andy Dalton and his offense was the 2nd best red zone offense in the National Football League. They converted when they got down there. Dean Pease right now, his defense is holding serve in the red zone, not allowing Andy Dalton to get it into the end zone.
46-yard kick from Nugent, and it's 12-0 Cincinnati. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, we'll send you to New York. JP, Tony, Bart, Boomer, and Coach Cowher with all the latest NFL scores and highlights. We'll also get you a special preview of the debut of Thursday Night Football coming up on CBS and NFL Network. It's all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report.
This morning, the guys on our NFL Today show were talking about A.J. Green, what a very special player he is. The 260 receptions, the most of any wide receiver in their first 3 years in the NFL. And he's done it rather quietly. We know how good he is, but boy, when you put him next to some of the NFL greats and thinking about how young he is and how young his quarterback is, well, they can we can see a lot of records fall by the time it's all said and done with A.J. Green.
Green said he added about 10 pounds of muscle during the offseason. Young man still trying to perfect his game. Can't be much better than he's been.
If he improves his game even more than what we've seen in the first 3 years, NFL defensive backs better watch out.
Busy first half for Nugent. Boots it away from his own 35-yard line. Jones, the back line of his end zone, watches it sail through, and Flacco back onto the field from the 20. And you can't really put the fault, Solomon, on Flacco so far. A couple of drop passes by Steve Smith.
Yeah, there's Steve Smith putting it on the ground. He's the veteran. You see, he almost stumbled and fell, then did not make the catch. That one off the hands of Torrey Smith. Flacco's got to be frustrated. 3 of 12 to start the game. This is not what he had in mind. When I talked to Flacco about it, I said, look, only Vinny Testaverde has had a 4,000-yard passing season in the entire history of the Baltimore Ravens. Yeah, he said 4,000. We're trying to get 5,000. He's not getting there today.
This is Pierce making the start for the suspended Ray Rice. John Harbaugh said if ball comes loose late, looks like he was down first. And now they say Cincinnati football.
Yes, they do. Ball on the ground.
Fumble recovered by Cincinnati.
Perfect has it, and they're saying that it's going to be Cincinnati Bengals ball. Wow.
Perfect, the NFL's leading tackler a year ago, makes the play for Cincinnati.
It's going to be hard to see, but let's see. Bernard Pierce has the ball right there. It's out. Ball's out. He's hit. You can tell by just the way his head went. He's trying to find the ball himself. Look at that's Vontaze Burfict right there, stripping it away. What did Burfict tell us? He says, even if the play goes away from me, I feel like I have to make every single play on the field, and boy, does he play like it.
And Solomon, you said, when a defense knows that a running back is young, a couple of years in the league, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get strip football.
At the NFL level, defenders, they're not just content with getting you on the ground. They want to tackle you, maim you, and take the ball away simultaneously, and that's what you see there. Is that ball out before the elbow of Bernard Pierce hit the ground? We see that ball rolling around there. And now they are allowed to look at this in terms of reviewing it. They're going to go and take a look at it.
All turnovers, scoring plays under automatic review, and it looks like that football is clearly out before Pierce's elbow hits the turf. And how about this turn of events here? Andy Dalton, 1st and 10 from the 23-yard line, and the obvious concern on that Raven sideline. First career lost fumble for the third-year Pierce. Dalton under pressure. Evades one man. Late marker comes in. Appeared to be some contact right at Dalton's face mask.
Yeah.
Brandon Williams coming up the gut.
Holding. Offense, number 61. 10-yard penalty. Replay. First down.
That's the rookie center, Bodine.
Bodine's working against Brandon Williams. Bodine, we haven't had to say his name yet through most of this game, which is a good thing. Absolutely. Getting his first career start as a rookie here on the road at M&T Bank Stadium against the legendary Ravens defense. But there you see 61. You see the hands holding the big Brandon Williams, who's pressuring in the face of Andy Dalton.
First undrafted offensive lineman rookie to start since Eric Steinbach here in 2003. 1st and 20 after the penalty. Man in motion is the man who catches the football, Brandon Tate. Used primarily as a kick returner last couple of years. Up the sideline, picks up 5 with the clock stopped at 4:08.
And John Harbaugh said it. We expect a lot of wrinkles in this offense from Hugh Jackson. Remember, Hugh Jackson was the quarterback's coach during Harbaugh's first year here when Flacco was a rookie. Helped groom Joe Flacco. They know he's an excellent play caller. They know he's got a good creative mind when it comes to moving the ball down the field as an offensive play caller.
Bernard, the lone setback. Dalton calling signals, 2nd and 15. It's caught. It's Gresham again.
Wow.
Taking on tacklers with that huge 6'5", 260-pound frame. They gang tackle him, but not before he picks up 4.
Now, Gresham is a big guy, and he is a guy that can certainly make plays. He's going to be here coming across the field right there. And see, he finds the zone, and Dalton gets rid of the ball quickly. And then watch as he bounces off tackler C.J. Mosley, the talented former SEC Defensive Player of the Year. Can't bring him down. Needs a second chance to hold on to Gresham to get him out of bounds.
You saw Dalton's numbers at the top of your screen. 17 for 23. Very efficient for 142 yards. 3rd and 13. Bernard splits out in motion, top of your screen. Over the middle, caught right at the 20. Needed to get to the 14. Well short. It's Mosley, the inside linebacker, on the tackle of Brandon Tate, and the field goal unit on for the 5th time.
I got to give Brandon Tate a lot of credit just for holding on to that ball, because C.J. Mosley introduces himself with a very physical thump just as the ball arrived. Dalton is doing a good job of just being very disciplined with what he's doing with the ball. He's avoiding the turnovers. 7 interceptions in 2 games 1 year ago against the Baltimore Ravens.
Nugent 4 for 4 so far, this time from 38 yards out. And it's been a Sunday walk in the park for that man, Mike Nugent. A perfect 5 for 5, and he has been a lone source of offense. As another drive stalls, and you can see the frustration on the face of Dalton after the fumble by Bernard Pierce. Unable to punch it in for 6. Well, a busy week 1 across the NFL continues later today on Fox, and then tonight, 8:30 Eastern Time. You can tune in tomorrow for a Monday Night Football doubleheader on ESPN. First the Giants and the Lions, and then the San Diego Chargers against the Arizona Cardinals. As week 1 winds down. And Solomon, you talk about a tough way to start the season. Short week for the Ravens, a game that we'll have on CBS next Thursday against Pittsburgh, and then another divisional battle, 3 of them in the span of the first 15 days of the year.
The AFC North, I think, quietly is one of the best divisions in all of football. I know we talk a lot about the NFC West division with San Francisco, Seattle, Arizona, and that St. Louis defense under Jeff Fisher. But in this defense, and I should say in this division, where Pittsburgh and Baltimore and Cincinnati all have top 10 deep. Even Cleveland Browns had a top 10 defense 1 year ago.
And we're listening to the guys in the studio, the NFL Today, earlier today, talking about the AFC North. No consensus in terms of who the favorite is.
That's how tough it is. Did anyone pick Cleveland, by the way?
I would hope not, right?
Just, you know, there are...
Gotta see something from Cleveland a little bit before someone can make that prediction. But Joe Flacco, the frustration, had a chance to visit with him Friday, said all the right things. New offensive coordinator, a new center in Jeremy Zuttah. But you have to give him some help. Already shorthanded, of course, with the suspended Ray Rice not in the building.
Well, he's supposed to have help from guys like Steve Smith, who dropped some passes today, and Torrey Smith as well. And, you know, the tight ends, Owen Daniels, Dennis Pitta, also have to be able to make some plays for their quarterback.
Could be the final play here before the 2-minute warning. 1st and 10. Flacco over the middle. And it's caught. It's the tight end, Owen Daniels, coming over with Kubiak from Houston, 6 yards. And that takes us to the 2-minute warning. Flacco shut out so far, down 15. Sparrow Dinas, Solomon Wilcots, our entire CBS crew with you. M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore. Can this Ravens offense get something on the board here inside of 2 minutes? What a play by Torrey Smith. First time we've seen him solidly have any impacts on this game. 15 yards and one of the few Baltimore first downs. George Iloka on the tackle. Coming up, the Verizon Halftime Report will send you to New York. They'll have all the latest scores and highlights. Get you a special preview of the debut of Thursday Night Football on CBS and NFL Network. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. 5 field goals by Mike Nugent, all the scoring we've seen so far. 1st and 10. Flacco has time. Flushed out. Across his body. Completes inside Bengals territory to Jacoby Jones.
We have to give a lot of credit to the Ravens offensive line. They're doing a good job of protecting Flacco, and Flacco's not given enough credit for doing this. Getting out of the pocket, moving around, extending plays, buying time for his receivers to get open down the field. You protect him, he will find the open receivers. Now the receivers got to do a better job of catching the football.
Flacco hit hard as he throws right through the fingertips of Jones, who has to make that catch.
Just as we said it, you've got to be able to make those catches. Joe Flacco hangs in there against the blitzing Vontaze Burfict right in his face. And look, drops this one in the breadbasket for Jacoby Jones. Got to be able to haul it in for your quarterback. He's taking a hit in the backfield from Burfict, and now you've got to reward him.
Looks like Burfict is injured behind the play. Solomon, you wonder if the sun is maybe having an impact, but we have seen 3 drop balls by some short-handed Ravens receivers.
You know what coaches say when you come back and tell them that, Coach, the sun was in my eyes? They say, you know what, don't tell me about the labor pains, just show me the baby. Just make the play when the opportunity is there. And Burfict comes in on Joe Flacco, and look at the hit here.
My rule,
puts
an injury
Flacco
that
on the
occurs
ground.
under 2 minutes with a team out of timeouts is their 4th timeout. The clock was not running in this situation, so there will not be a 10-second runoff. It is Cincinnati's 4th timeout. If they have another timeout before the end of the half, it'll be their 5th, and it will carry a penalty and a 10-second runoff potentially.
Well, that's about as good an explanation as you'll
really
get.
good.
Gene Steratore. Well, Burfict hit Flacco so hard he hurt himself, and he couldn't
Because
let
it
in
is also a
Solomon with the helmet.
injury, we need to set the play clock to 40 seconds. 4-0 on the play clock. Thank you.
And Burfict did try to play through it. He got up. Now, had he stayed down the entire time, the Bengals would not be charged with that timeout. But he got up and tried to shake it off. Look, as he comes right in, I think the knee or something right there to the torso of Joe Flacco. Actually, it was Flacco's knee to Burfict's torso. I think may have caused some kind of discomfort where Burfict could not continue to play.
Burfict, 23 years of age, a young kid out of South LA. His story well known at this point, undrafted out of Arizona State, made the team as a rookie, started 14 games, led the team in tackles, and led the entire league in that category last season, and certainly a guy that they can ill afford to lose. 1:16 to play. Ravens still have 2 timeouts. They spot it at the 48. Flacco over the middle. Very tight space to deliver. Finds the tight end Daniels. And a Baltimore first down. They pick up 9. Actually about a yard short. Solomon, what are they trying to do here? 3rd and 1. Quickly get to the line of scrimmage.
They're trying to get that first down, and then what they want to do is they got to take a shot at the end zone, but you can continue to work the underneath coverage as they've done. I think you've got to start getting the ball to your tight ends. I think you get the matchup with Dennis Pitta. We saw Owen Daniels just make the catch. The receivers are struggling right now in this game, and you're going to continue to give them opportunities. But right now, the sure-handed play of Dennis Pitta, Owen Daniels, has got to be a real comfort right now for Joe Flacco.
Well, there is Gary Kubiak, hired to take over for Jim Caldwell, the offensive coordinator, who now, of course, is the head coach with the Lions.
And if you're Kubiak, you've got to know that Torrey Smith has gotten behind Terrence Newman. We've seen Jacoby Jones get behind the defender. They just got to make the grabs. You might ask yourself, will they take another shot at the end zone, knowing that their receivers can get by the defensive back for the Cincinnati Bengals.
So Baltimore down to its final timeout. This will be the 7th play of the drive. And the best Ravens drive so far today, 43 yards over the first 6 plays. So the short pass to Smith, makes the catch, taking on tacklers at the 30-yard line. As they pick up 7 and stop the clock with 49 seconds.
Good catch and run by Steve Smith. They're starting to have a little jawing competition with some of the defensive backs, but he's feisty. He's got a lot of tenacity. Watch the stiff arm right there against Reggie Nelson. And that gets him extra yards, and then, just another shove to Adam Jones. Look at the physicality of Steve Smith.
We're told Burfict, it's the neck area, led in with the head, and his return is questionable at this point. Quick release by Flacco again, this time to Pitta. Inside the 30. And very close to that first down marker. Looks like they'll bring the chains.
Yeah, that short passing game.
And now they say first down.
It's going to be a first down. They've been moving the ball, working the underneath coverage. And Joe Flacco's been really good. He's getting to feel a little bit better in the offense. And if you're the Ravens, you can get 3 points, even a touchdown here. You know what that's going to do for your confidence going in at halftime. And got to believe it'll be a jolt for the Cincinnati Bengals, who played so well here in the first half.
Dennis Pitta last season played just 4 games, that fractured dislocated hip. Gave him a 5-year contract extension, gives him a 1st and 10 here. 43 seconds. Flacco airs it out near side end zone. It is incomplete. It was caught by Adam Jones, but he was out of bounds. Huge break for the Ravens.
Huge break. They were bringing the house at Joe Flacco. Paul Guenther sending the entire Bengals defense on a blitz. One-on-one to the outside. Torrey Smith, Adam Jones stays on top. He's fighting for the ball. He makes the catch, but he doesn't do it inbounds. Could not come away with an interception, but good coverage on the back end. I thought the Ravens would take a shot, and they did on that play.
Marlon Brown, a second-year wideout out of Georgia, into the game, split out top of your picture, 2nd and 10. Flacco finds Daniels over the middle, and just on cue, you mentioned it, he's getting the tight ends involved, 11 yards and a first down.
I think you have to, and remember, Owen Daniels played with the Houston Texans for Gary Kubiak as well. Knows the offensive system, Kubiak knows, and trusts that Daniels is going to make a play.
Ravens have one timeout, they're going to run a play here. Flacco pump faked initially and then off the hands of Pitta. And we'll stop the clock. 12 seconds left. They've got one timeout. What do you do here?
I think you use it and you get one last shot at the end zone, knowing that about 7 seconds, okay, is going to take 7 seconds to be able to run a play. If it's an incompleted pass, you know the clock's going to be stopped. If it's caught, then you either get into the end zone, get down, and call a timeout. You throw it over the middle of the field. If you don't get into the end zone, you got to go down, allow Joe Flacco to call the timeout quickly.
They'll line up at the 15-yard line, 2nd and 10. Here's Flacco, just 10 for 22 so far. Flacco has time, throws end zone, it's incomplete. Trying to find Pitta again. So 8 seconds remaining, 3rd and 10. They've got one timeout left.
And only 4 seconds came off the clock. That's why you want to throw it quickly. They did throw it at the middle of the field, but at the end zone. Really good play, and now you've got time for even one more play where they're going to take a shot at it. Look at Paul Guenther saying somebody's got to be able to make a play. Joe Flacco knows the ball's got to come out very quick here. Can't get caught holding it, and you certainly can't take a sack here.
3rd and 10. Down to 4 seconds. Flacco.
He can throw it away now. He's holding it and runs out of time.
My goodness.
He should have
terrible mistake.
He should have thrown it away sooner.
And
yes. He should have thrown it away sooner. We said it before the snap. Ball's got to come out quickly. He could have just easily thrown the ball out the back of the end zone. Save time and come away with a field goal.
And you saw the look on his face. He knew it immediately.
For a 7-year veteran, he's got it. Look, that's the 40-second clock. Look at the clock on the left. See, just throw it away. See, he should have thrown it away before he ever start running around with it. Could just clearly throw it out of the back of the end zone. There were 5 seconds still left on the clock.
And really fitting into a highly frustrating first half for John Harbaugh and the Ravens. You see Paul Guenther, they celebrate. Up 15-0. You're watching the NFL on CBS. The Verizon Halftime Report is next. Five field goals by Mike Nugent, the only scoring in the first half, as we welcome you back. 15-0 Cincinnati up at halftime here in Baltimore. Spiro Ditas and Solomon Wilcots. Frustrating on one side. All kinds of issues for Baltimore's offense. How do they turn it around?
Well, if the Baltimore Ravens are going to get back into this ball game, they've got to begin to catch the ball at the top of the routes for the wide receiver when Joe Flacco gets them the football. Got to be able to use the tight ends. Dennis Pitta, Owen Daniels, they've got to be able to use them to get them the ball. They're the sure-handed receivers. They're going to have opportunities, but they've got to protect the football and then create some turnovers, take the ball away from the Cincinnati Bengals offense and to overcome this 15-point deficit.
All right, let's get you the DirecTV Ultimate Picture Cam. This was the botched play at the end of the first half. They had time. You said all Flacco needed to do was throw it away. Carlos Dunlap coming with the pressure from the backside, and Flacco makes a terrible mistake.
Yeah, with 8 seconds on the clock, if you're Joe Flacco, you cannot get caught holding on to the football. You got to throw it away and allow the opportunity to kick the field goal. Could have went in with 3 points on the board. They're going to get the ball to begin the second half. Could have possibly saw a 10-point swing before the Cincinnati Bengals would even get the ball back here in the second half.
Such a monstrous game. It always is on opening day, but for added significance, this is the divisional rivalry. Cincinnati winning its first divisional crown in the AFC North last season, first time since 2009. Ending the Ravens' 2-year stay atop the divisional perch. Joe Flacco just 10 of 23, Solomon, in that first half, 78 yards. How impressed were you on the other side with what Andy Dalton did? Didn't really see him take shots down the field, but very efficient, 18 for 24.
Yeah, and you got to believe that Hugh Jackson saving the best for maybe in the second half. Maybe they start to stretch the field a little bit more, taking some shots down the field, but it's been a lot of underneath, a lot of screens by the wide receivers and running backs to manufacture offense and come away with 5 field goals.
They had to hold the kick. As Nugent has had a spectacular day, booms that through the back of the end zone. Jones watches it sail through. Take a look at some of the first half numbers.
Yeah, both teams came out and said they wanted to run the ball, especially the Ravens, and they're committed to running the ball. After that fumble by Bernard Pierce, one has to really wonder how much are they going to continue to run the football. It's the one turnover, the time of possession. I don't think we can talk about that enough for the Cincinnati Bengals to take the crowd out of it here at M&T Bank Stadium.
And interesting, it's Bernard Pierce on the sideline to start the second half. Hard hit over the middle, Pitta knocked down. It's Justin Forsett. Solomon getting the start here in the second half. We saw that Pierce fumbled in the second quarter. And now maybe they give him the early hook.
Yeah, and he's just chomping at the bit to maybe get another opportunity. He said this was the opportunity of a lifetime, and when you put the ball on the carpet in the season opener, the coach is going to go elsewhere.
Flacco on 2nd and 4, and another dropped pass. That time off the hands of Daniels, a 2-time Pro Bowler. By our count, that's the 4th drop by a Ravens receiver.
And we said they had to go to the tight ends. Kubiak draws it up to get the ball to one of their tight ends, Owen Daniels. The sure-handed one had played for Kubiak with the Houston Texans. Not able to haul it in. Had he caught it, would have been a first down.
3rd and 4. They mark it at the 26. Rookie running back out of Coastal Carolina, Lorenzo Taliaferro, into the game. As Flacco finds his man across the 30, looks like they've got the first down. It's Pitta. A pickup of 5 and a much-needed first down for the Ravens.
Remember 2 years ago, during that Super Bowl run where Joe Flacco had 11 touchdown passes, no interceptions in the postseason. The 2 guys he relied on with John Harbaugh was Anquan Bolden, who's no longer here, but Dennis Pitta was tremendously productive in that postseason run. Had a hip injury to start last year. Let's see if he can regain form in 2014.
This is Forsett back onto the field. 1st and 10. Forsett getting to the outside, crosses the 30, brought down at the 34. We just got word from the Bengals sideline that their Pro Bowl linebacker Vontaze Burfict has a concussion and is done for the day.
Wow, and that means Vincent Ray is going to be on the field. A very active player. No one is maybe as good for Paul Gunther as Vontaze Burfict. He told Vontaze Burfict, I need you to be the guy to get after this defense, to be my vocal leader on the field. It's going to be without him in the second half.
Excellent burst by Forsett, the man they acquired with the free agent contract coming over from Jacksonville. 8 yards. And the second first down in the quarter for the Ravens.
Yeah, he's familiar with this offense, and watch it. It's that zone running game. And look, he's going to stick that 1 foot in the ground. See the hole open? And he presses the hole to get vertical. He has a good feel for this offense. He knows where the seams are going to be. That one cut and go style that Kubiak wants, Forsett can give it to him.
1st and 10 off the hands of another receiver, and again it's Steve Smith. Had a couple of drops, Solomon, in the first half, and just has not looked comfortable.
One thing, Steve Smith has never been a tall guy. He's 5'9", 185. Now this ball's up. See, he didn't go up for it with 2 arms going over the middle of the field. We would call that alligator arms in our time, but I'm never going to question the courage of one Steve Smith.
The rookie running back Taliaferro back onto the field. 2nd and 10. Here's Pitta. We didn't see them go to the tight ends early in the game, but you've certainly seen it over the last couple of drives. Lamar, the starting outside linebacker out of Kansas State, on the tackle pickup of 6.
And what did I say at halftime, Spiro? The wide receivers need to catch the ball on the deep routes. You can see they're working underneath here to begin the second half. All of these are short throws underneath the Bengals defense. I got to believe they're going to take some shots, and they've been able to get behind the defensive backs now. Some confusion for the Bengals on defense.
Forsett split out top of your screen. That pass on 3rd and 4, batted down at the line of scrimmage. And Sam Cook, the punter, who's had a busy afternoon, back onto the field. Wallace Gilberry, the Alabama standout, getting his big mitts on it.
Yeah, and what pressure provided by Reggie Nelson. They disguised the blitz. I don't even think the Baltimore Ravens thought they were going to bring more than they could protect. Nelson was able to leak through, forced a hurried and inaccurate throw by Joe Flacco.
Here is Cook. Brandon Tate signaling fair catch right around his 10. And one of the few times Andy Dalton has not had good field position to start. First drive of the second half for Cincinnati. Next on CBS. High above M&T Bank Stadium, downtown Baltimore, 15-0. Andy Dalton and the Bengals onto the field. First time of the second half. Bernard, we've seen that spin move today. Makes the first guy miss and picks up some positive yardage. You look at the first half possession summary for Cincinnati. They look good. Didn't get in the end zone, but look very good.
They scored on 5 of their 6 first half possessions. 5 field goals for Mike Nugent. They're able to take advantage of those opportunities, but no touchdowns.
2nd and 9. That's Bernard again. A young man who has that starting frontline running back position for the first time in his young 2-year career.
And what you notice from Hugh Jackson's offense, they're going no huddle. They're able to get a good look at the defense, but they're not going hurry up, Spiro. They're pacing themselves. They're bleeding clock. They're being very patient and deliberate with everything they're doing as they face 3rd and 4.
Brandon Tate in motion, 3rd and 4. Dog Forsett, Bernard wide open across the 40 and brought down just outside the 45-yard line by the safety Darian Stewart, but not before Bernard burns him for 32.
See, we talk about be fast, but don't hurry. Take a look. He comes out of the backfield. See, they're very deliberate in what they're doing. They totally and completely lose track of him. He gets so outside. That's a lot of room to work with. And Gio Bernard in space is as dangerous as they come in the National Football League. Great play design and good read and recognition by the quarterback, Andy Dalton.
Bernard told us he's never really been the guy for a full season. Last year, the split time with Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis at North Carolina. Always so many running backs as they find a wide open A.J. Green inside the Ravens 30. And this Baltimore defense right now, again, going backwards 22 yards.
Look, he gets behind the linebacker, settle in, like he's going on the 7, but then cuts it short underneath the safety. That was good, what we call coverage recognition, and he adjusted the route, not going so deep where the safety can defend it, but he gets beyond the linebackers, creating a nice window for Andy Dalton to complete that pass.
Look at Dalton's numbers, 20 of 26. Now he's over 200 yards. Here's Bernard. Takes a hard hit from the safety, Matt Elam. Now in his 2nd season.
You know, Giovanni Bernard's 5'8", 200, but rarely do you see someone stamp him as you saw Matt Elam do, because he's so hard to hit in space. Very seldom do you get a chance to tee off on him. He can make you miss in the phone booth.
Well, Elam back to his natural position at strong safety this year, able to capitalize on his aggressive style of play. A lot of growing pains last year, but makes a big play there. To put Cincinnati in a 2nd and 7. Ravens coming from the edge. Cincinnati picks it up. And Dalton's pass not even close to an intended receiver.
That time, Jimmy Smith doing a good job of disguising the route. He kind of fooled A.J. Green on that one. He made A.J. think he was going deep, and A.J. snapped it off to a shorter route. And between the quarterback, Andy Dalton, and the wide receiver, A.J. Green, there was some confusion, but it was all caused by disguising the coverage by the veteran corner, Jimmy Smith. And now the coordinator's playing some chess right now on 3rd down.
Looked like Jeremy Hill came onto the field here, the rookie running back. Bernard stays on 3rd and 7. What does Jackson do here? He has had such a good balance of run and pass, but they have not been able to get into the end zone yet. Over the middle. Excellent defense intended for Bernard, and it was the rookie C.J. Mosley making a monstrous play for the Ravens.
Mosley comes underneath. If he doesn't get a hand on this ball, intended, see, for Giovanni Bernard. Bernard's going to catch it and walk into the end zone. Can't say enough about the great and tremendous coverage by the rookie. Look at that. He comes underneath. He misses the ball, but it's enough to distract Giovanni Bernard from making that catch.
45-yard attempt from Nugent has been perfect so far. He was long earlier from 49. Kevin Huber, the punter, holds at the 35. It's blocked. Ravens field it, and they're going the other way. Anthony Levine inside Bengals territory, and Mike Nugent with what could have been a touchdown-saving stop. 40 yards on the return, and Flacco's going to have a short field.
This is what the Baltimore Ravens needed. They needed someone to stand up and make a play and create some kind of turnover. Take a look here. Hands are going to go up. And there you see the penetration right there. It appears to be number 36, Jeremy Miles, a former Cincinnati Bengal himself, coming off the left side of the Bengals offensive line, splitting blockers, and is able to get penetration, gets a hand on it. They recovered and run it back, and now they have good positive field position. Let's see if Joe Flacco can take advantage of it.
15-point deficit for the Ravens inside of 9 minutes left in this third quarter. We haven't seen Bernard Pierce, who started the game today but fumbled late in the first half, making the start for the suspended Ray Rice. Flacco under pressure, hit as he throws. He finds Smith and lost it. What's the ruling here? They say incomplete pass. And Steve Smith's rough Ravens debut continues.
Well, we said it. We said the wide receivers have to catch the ball downfield. And there you see, he's going to come open. This ball hits him right in the hands. And there's no sun distracting on that one, right? He had it long enough where it almost could have been declared a fumble. It's just a really tough start for Steve Smith in his debut for these Baltimore Ravens.
We talked about how experienced that back-end secondary is for Cincinnati. They have blanketed those two men. And that pass is intercepted. Picked off by Emmanuel Lamar, who stepped into the lane. And after the play on a blocked field goal, Baltimore gives it right back. And they continue to groan in Baltimore. Ravens getting shut out 15-0.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. FedEx One Rate. Simple flat rate shipping with the reliability of FedEx. And by Kelley Blue Book. Find out what you should pay for your next new car at kbb.com.
Well, just when you thought that the Ravens were turning the corner, Joe Flacco throws the first interception of this new season, and a late botched play at the end of the first half. And now Cincinnati, as that ball gets jarred loose, Gresham made the catch, and now they say
incomplete forward pass, second down Cincinnati.
Solomon, take us back to the Flacco pick.
Well, he wanted to go to Owen Daniels, the tight end, going out into the flat, and Lemieux's going to have it covered. See, watch Lemieux here, but then watch the vision of Flacco. He's going to be here, he comes here, then comes back late, and then that's where the interception occurs. He comes back late. He'd never even seen Lemieux, who comes away with the interception. So Flacco distracted himself, and whenever you come back late, you throw the ball late to the outside, high chance of it being intercepted.
Looks like we may get a challenge here before what would have been a 2nd and 10 play. You see Marvin Lewis talking to our referee, Gene Steratore. Another look, it was Gresham with the catch. Tackle was made by Darrell Smith.
I got to tell you, the ball does come out.
Cincinnati is not challenging the ruling on the field of an incomplete forward pass. It is second down.
Have to maintain control through the contact with the ground.
Would the play clock operator please reset the play clock to 22 seconds? 22 seconds
Looks
on
like
the play
Lewis
clock,
may have been
please.
talked out of the challenge.
Yeah, he's not going to. Yeah. It was never a catch because he has to maintain catch and control of the ball, where the ball continuously moved in the hands and stomach of Jermaine Gresham.
Excellent coverage on that play by Asa Jackson. So after the incompletion, 2nd and 10 from the 39. Dalton looking. Far side. It's caught. A.J. Green. That'll be Green's 2nd reception today. He's been quiet. And time for 7.
On that throw, Dalton has been intercepted on those throws in the past. Remember the Thursday night game, and Brent Grimes picked him off, took it to the house against Miami because he threw it late to the inside of the receiver, and that one was one of those that the defender got a good break on it, could have had an interception. He's got to be very careful when he goes late, clear to the outside toward the boundary.
The Ravens defense have given up chunks of yards here and there, but they have held here on 3rd down for the most part. 3rd and 2. Cincinnati is going to move the chains. That's Tate over the middle. Gets just 3, but enough. It'll be 1st and 10.
The passing game in the National Football League has changed. I remember 10 years ago, everyone was getting vertical. Everyone was throwing the ball down the field. All of these completions for Andy Dalton are just of the short variety, but they continue to move the chains. There's another one.
This is Green again as they move inside Ravens territory. Clock stops at 7:23, 6 yards. Tackle made by Jimmy Smith.
And you see the receivers being more sure-handed for Andy Dalton than the receivers are for Joe Flacco. Might be one of the big differences in today's ball game. A.J. Green's coming out taking a knee. This thing's like a track meet for the Bengals receivers.
Green looks like he's shaken up. They stack their wides on the near side. And Dalton kind of threw it between them. Sanu unable to make the sprawling catch. And it'll be 3rd and short.
Yeah, Dalton thought Sanu was going to run toward the line. He threw it and led him. Sanu was a stationary target. All Dalton had to do was hit him between the numbers.
Also should point out Tyler Eifert, who left the game in the first half with a right elbow injury, will not return. So he and Burfict, who's out with a concussion, are done for the day. 3rd and 14 from the 44. They split Gresham out top of your screen. Dalton going to him. It's incomplete. Well played by the safety, Elam.
Well, Gresham did not run the disciplined route. He's matched up. They believe the tight end against Elam. See, watch how he drifts at the top of the route. He's got to do the stop and make sure that he's able to work his way back to the ball. When you drift like that, he wants the penalty flag thrown, but he was not assertive enough in his pass route to attack the football.
Only the 2nd punt today by Kevin Huber. Jacoby Jones signals fair catch. Fields at around the 17-yard line. That's where Joe Flacco will take over. Haven't scored yet. They're down 15 points. Coming up next, it's the U.S. Open women's finalist. Serena Williams goes for her 3rd straight U.S. Open crown against Caroline Wozniacki. Then tomorrow at 5 Eastern, Marin Cilic against Kei Nishikori in the men's final. As unexpected a matchup in that final round as you'll ever see at a Grand Slam. We'll have it for you on CBS. 1st and 10. Here's Justin Forsett. Looks like Pierce is at least done and in the doghouse with John Harbaugh at the moment, as they have struggled some. What, if anything, can Gary Kubiak do calling plays here to jumpstart this offense?
If you're Gary Kubiak, you're saying, I'm going to do the same thing. You know why? I'm getting receivers open. All they have to do is catch the ball. 5 drops right now by the receivers for the Baltimore Ravens. If Joe Flacco is hitting them, they've got to catch it.
2nd and 7. That pass was deflected, it looked like, still caught by Dennis Pitt. It was Atkins who got a hand on it.
Pitt has been the most consistent for Joe Flacco on that previous drive where they were moving the ball before it was intercepted. I think maybe 2 drives ago, 2 possessions before that. Pitt had 3 receptions. You can see 5 drops today, 4 of them by the veteran Steve Smith. Very uncharacteristic.
8 yards and a 1st down for the Ravens. That was the 6th catch by Pitta for 36 yards.
Well, they're getting open.
1st and 10. Flacco slings it to Smith. Caught near side. Smith out across the 35, picks up 6.
And that's why if you're Gary Kubiak, the play caller for the Baltimore Ravens, you don't change anything, Spiro, because You know, Steve Smith is a 13-year veteran of the game. He's been in difficult moments before and had to fight his way out of a case of the drops or maybe running poor routes. But today, he's got to just work his way out of it. Still going to have an opportunity to impact this game.
Flacco on 2nd and 4. That's the Steve Smith you know and love. Over the middle, taking on the defense. 13 yards and a Baltimore first down.
No, he knows the coach right now is showing tremendous confidence in him after 4 drops to come back to him on consecutive plays. He catches one underneath, and then the hard-hitting slant where he may have turned it down earlier and didn't quite go for it. That one, he was fully committed to making a play.
Well, this is the first time that Smith really hasn't been the #1 wide receiver in a long, long time. That distinction here, of course, belongs to Torrey Smith, who has been awfully quiet today. Bengals coming. Back, foot throw. It is caught by Pitta. They connect for the 7th time today. 23 yards and a Ravens first down.
Well, he's matched up with Emmanuel Lemieux. And you're going to see him right here, just come right up toward the middle of the field. And watch Flacco drop this one in the breadbasket. Nice trajectory on the ball against a blitzing defense where only Pitta can get it. He has a tremendous amount of trust and confidence that Pitta is going to make that play.
Lamar had the pick earlier. Draw play to Forsett. Keep in mind, if you've just joined us, Cincinnati's Pro Bowl linebacker who led the league in tackles last year, Vontaze Burfict, suffering a concussion, done for the day. And now they have to regroup without their best player on that side of the ball.
Actually a concussion where he was blitzing on Joe Flacco, had a hard hit on the quarterback, and the way they landed, he ended up taking the worst of it.
We saw Vincent Ray now calling out signals in his place. 2nd and 7. Pocket squeezed around Flacco. Didn't flinch. That's Owen Daniels.
Oh, we told you, Pitta, Owen Daniels, to me, that's where the offense has to get going. Get this offense on track, get some rhythm. Consecutive completions going to the tight ends, where I think they're an excellent matchup against the Bengals linebacker without Vontaze Burfict on the field.
7 yards, another first down. They spotted right at the 20. Kamar Aiken into the game. First time we've seen him at wideout. Top of your screen. Flacco goes right to him. It's caught. Spinning. Good first down pickup. Tackle made by Adam Jones, who had that 44-yard punt return in the first half. And finally, Solomon, this Ravens offense threatening.
Yeah, this is kind of like, you know, Gary Kubiak doing what Hugh Jackson's been doing the entire game, working the underneath coverage, using just about everyone. We've seen Steve Smith haul it in now a couple of times. Owen Daniels, Dennis Pitta, now everyone getting involved. Joe Flacco with good protection starting to spread it around.
Forsett, the long setback. Flacco's going to take the shot. This one is incomplete. Smith blanketed in the near corner of the end zone by Terrence Newman, who has had a solid afternoon so far to be 3rd and short.
Terrence Newman, he's a veteran cornerback in this league. And watch, he's got a little hand. See, he doesn't move as well. Look at that hand. See the little back arm right there, little grab. That's not going to be called pass interference. You know why? The ball's clearly thrown out of bounds. It was deemed an uncatchable pass. Had that ball maybe been a little bit closer, you have to wonder if the officials threw a flag at Terrence Newman.
You appreciate that little arm lock right from the DB.
You got to do everything you can. Trust me. The receivers are going to put their hands on you. You got to put your hands on him.
Newman, a long-time vet, 12th year in the league, just turned 36. Flacco on 3rd and 3. Pitch play to Forsett. He's got the first down. He's into the end zone. And finally, the Ravens on the board.
Wow. Got to give Justin Forsett a lot of credit. He read the blocking on the right side behind guard Marshall Yanda. Rick Wagner, the new starter at the right tackle position. They just ride the Bengals defense right out of there, and he stayed play side. Coming right at you. Look at Yanda. Pick 71. That's Rick Wagner. They get the seam, hit the crease. You can see they were able to get it into the end zone. He just outrun defenders with great blocking up front to get it in for a touchdown.
Well, you wondered if Cincinnati's stalled drives would come back to bite them. They hit this extra point. It's only an 8-point game. Injured Bengal on the field.
It's like
hard
99.
To get a look
Is
at
that Marcus
number.
Hunt? I think it's Marcus Hunt, 99. Big defensive end.
You're right.
Out of SMU.
A young man who they are very, very high on. Excellent preseason, 4 sacks. Expected to get increased time after the free agent departure of Michael Johnson.
Take a look again, and then watch how they just see there. As you see, 99, he gets rolled off. They block him, and that's really where the breakdown occurred. Marcus Hunt, he gets sealed, and we talk about offensive setting the edge, Spiro. When they can set the edge and get around the end, it's going to be an easy run. Look, first rushing touchdown by a running back since November of last year. 174 rushes since they've been able to run it into the end zone.
Point after by Tucker is good, and finally something to cheer about for these fans in Baltimore. It's a brand new game. Flacco 6 of 7 on the drive, a 13-yard burst from Brissett. 8-point game on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Bose, official sound of the NFL.
Well, it took them a long time, over a full half, nearly 3 quarters. They finally get into the end zone. Justin Forsett, first time he's been in the end zone since 2012. 13-yard run makes it an 8-point game. Brandon Tate, unplayable, and Andy Dalton onto the field when we come back. Well, for all the outsiders, misfits, and true originals, CBS presents a new series that's pure genius, inspired by a true story. Scorpion premieres Monday, September 22nd, only CBS. There's juice back in this building now after Joe Flacco and the Ravens finally get on the board. They're down 15-7. Late stages, third quarter. This is the rookie runner out of LSU, Jeremy Hill. And suddenly it gets interesting now. You get antsy if you're Marvin Lewis. You lose Vontaze Burfict, your best defensive player. And now suddenly the Ravens showing light.
That's a greater concern. They lose their heart and soul. Vontaze Burfict, he's the enforcer, the captain on that defense, and your leading tackler. And you saw they were able to rip right through him for a 13-yard run for a touchdown. Got to believe it doesn't happen if Burfict's in the game. And now the offense, Andy Dalton, they've got to respond by putting points on the board.
Burfict lost to a concussion. If you've just joined us, Dalton fakes the initial pitch, then gives to Sanu. We have seen just about every formation imaginable from Hugh Jackson. But that time the Ravens defense wasn't fooled.
Hey, how about this? Andy Dalton's right into the read option, fake it to Jeremy Hill. The defense goes down. Look, he could have kept it himself, but he said, you know what? They pay me to throw it, not to run it. I'll let Mohamed Sanu run it, because either one of us are going to gain yards on this.
Looked like they had a lot of room there. They pick up 4. Good recovery by Darian Stewart. 3rd and 2. Dalton's pass almost caught by accident off the chest of Brandon Tate. Ravens get lucky. Bengals will punt.
They actually had, look, you're going to see, look, Mohamed Sanu's wide open in the slot. Why would you throw it outside? And then, look, Shockey Brown, he just gets up. That ball, he barely tips it. Brandon Tate can't hold on to it. It's incomplete, but Sanu was wide open right in the slot. That's what Dalton should have gone with the football.
Kevin Huber, the 60-year punter. Franchise record holder for both gross and net punt average. Booms it off with his left foot. Good-looking kick. Fielded by Jones. Just outside the 30. Minimal return. As Joe Flacco and the Ravens offense back onto the field. Next Sunday, the NFL on CBS rolls out doubleheader action. First, Tom Brady and the Patriots tango with Adrian Peterson and the Vikings. Alex Smith and the Chiefs will take on Peyton Manning and the Broncos. Check your local listings. It all begins with the NFL Today, presented by Southwest Airlines.
That last possession by the Bengals may have been, what, the first, maybe only second time they've gone 3 and out, but what at a critical moment where their defense could have used more rest. It could have improved their field position and bled more time off the clock.
14 straight home victories for the Ravens in the month of September. We're down 15-0 at halftime. They'll now have the momentum after that last touchdown drive, the 13-yard run by Forsett. Ball was tipped by Vincent Ray and a marker thrown.
Flacco's lucky. Could have been intercepted by Vincent Ray.
Illegal formation. Offense, number 60 was not on the line of scrimmage. That penalty is declined. Second down.
It's on Eugene Monroe. Another look at that last touchdown drive. And Flacco had a rhythm, Solomon, for the first time today.
That's because his receivers caught the ball consistently. Then you can get a good feel as a play caller. It helps the quarterback to get into rhythm. And when you can run it like that, everything starts to click. 6 of 7 on the drive for Joe Flacco, ending with a 13-yard touchdown run by Justin Forsett.
Forsett starting the second half after it was Pierce to start the game. Forsett making things happen. Catch and run across the 35 to the 38. Picks up 6. Robert Gathers, the backup defensive end, on the stop.
You can see now the tackling not as crisp as it had been early in the game. Forsett able to slip away from Vincent Ray right there. And you're getting now to the second level. And so Forsett now starting to make his presence felt, doing a much better job. They go from Ray Rice to Bernard Pierce. Pierce has the fumble in the first half. Now he's been benched on the sideline, and Justin Forsett starting to heat it up in Gary Kubiak's offense.
Well, Pierce making only the second start of his young career. Right now a bystander. As we reach the end of the third quarter, Joe Flacco will have a 3rd and 4 when we come back. 15-7 your score. Will return to Baltimore after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. We are through 3 quarters. Spiro Dedes, Solomon Wilcox, our entire CBS crew with you. M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore. What a way to start the season, this divisional battle in the AFC North. Bengals are up 15-0 at halftime if you've just joined us. But Flacco and the Ravens making a move. It's Kamar Aiken, first reception of his second half, picks up 7. A first down for the Ravens.
He comes across, see, down the formation, and he runs away from Drake Kirkpatrick. Got to have greater recognition, knowing that he's not going to come across your face. By the formation, you got to expect him to be able to run an out route there and shrink the space between you and the receiver.
That was the second catch of the half for Aiken. Young man out of Central Florida in his second season. Forsett. Boy, what a change that has been as they have pulled Pierce. John Harbaugh doing what he felt needed to be done. And Forsett has made all the difference.
It's all about who you trust with the football. And if you're a coach, you're John Harbaugh, you know the one thing that can undermine your ability to continue to win here at home in a season opener is turning over the football. And that's what Bernard Pierce did on the fumble.
This was a team that rushed for a franchise-worst 1,328 yards last year. An offensive line that was decimated by injury. And a slow start today, but now starting to come on. That is Forsett. Little hesitation run across the 45 of Cincinnati. 6 yards, stopped by Ray, but not before a first down.
And what did John Harbaugh tell us, Spiro, when we spoke to him? We're going to stay committed to the run game. We're going to allow our offensive line to win games for us. Getting Forsett to the second level of the defense, they continue to stay committed to running the football. Forsett 9 carries so far on the day. He's going to hit double digits before it's all said and done.
Juszczyk, the fullback in motion. 1st and 10. Play action from Flacco. Under some pressure, Flacco's going to run it. And he is hit from the back. Carlos Dunlap, the 6'6", 280-pound giant, nearly chopped him down with one arm.
And the wingspan of, look at Dunlap. Watch him close. Now watch him just reach out as if he had an extra arm. And even Flacco didn't think he could reach him from there. He grabs the same arm that Flacco has the ball in, and back Flacco loses balance, can't continue running. He probably is going to pick up a first down if Dunlap doesn't grab him and pull him to the ground.
7th play of the drive. It's covered just over 3 minutes. 2nd and 8. Flacco again under duress. It's incomplete. Intended for Taliaferro. You know, Flacco told us a funny story yesterday. Last year when these two teams played, had a long touchdown throw on a rollout where he stiff-armed Dunlap to the floor.
Yeah.
After the play, went up to Dunlap and said, "Big fella, you can't let me do that." Joe said later in the game, Dunlap hit him and almost cut him in half.
Yeah, he almost broke him in half there. He said, "I learned not to mess with those defensive linemen." He said, "This is the tallest timber he's ever seen on a defensive line anywhere." The Bengals, boy, they've got several guys who are 6'6" or taller.
Carlos doesn't look like he's got a sense of humor on Sundays. 3rd and 8. That pass is somehow caught Flacco threading the needle to the little Steve Smith.
Close to a first down as well. It's going to be
get
very
to
close.
Just outside the 32. This will depend on the spot.
Steve Smith is starting to come on. Look at that. And a very tight window between Vincent Ray and Dre Kirkpatrick. He's able to come down with it, but he's down upon contact right there, just short of the first down. Now they're thinking about going for it, and if I'm the Ravens, I'm at home, and I'm Kubiak, and my offense has this kind of momentum, 4th and 1, I'm going for it. Do you go ahead and run it, though? How about play action? Get it to the tight end.
It's about 1.5 yards. They're going to roll the dice.
There you go.
They fool everyone.
Everyone's
Flacco's
open.
going to run it. And he takes a wallop at the end of that play from his safety, Nelson.
Flacco is so good. He's 6'6", he's 240. You don't expect him to be able to move this well. We talked with Harbaugh about it. That's why I like play action with him getting, out on the edge. And Nick, he comes out the back door with it. Look, he could throw it to a fullback. He could throw it to Jacoby Jones. He says, nope, I'm keeping it. I'm running it. Takes a hit from Reggie Nelson. But after he picks up a first down. This is just great play calling and really good execution by Joe Flacco.
And that is your quarterback taking one on the chin, literally. First down 1. They spotted it around the 34 set. Working magic again to the 20-yard line. Tackle made by the safety. I look at 10 more yards for Forsett and another first down.
Felice Osimile, Eugene Monroe on the left side. Watch, they'll start it here, and then he winds it back. And see, he gets soft. And take a look at that block by Osimile, one of the rising stars on this offensive line for the Baltimore Ravens.
Forsett stays on the field. Long setback, 1st and 10 from the 20. Flacco under pressure. Gets it to the receiver, but it's incomplete. It was Atkins coming up the gut. Atkins, of course, coming back from the ACL tear, only played about a half. Solomon in the preseason looked a little bit timid, as you'd expect.
Yeah.
But this guy at full strength is as good as any interior defensive lineman in the league.
The middle or late part of the season when he blew out that knee, I think he did a good job of working in the offseason just to make it back, to be able to start the season opener. I don't know that we can expect him to be a 100% in the early part of the season, but as we face 2nd and 10, look at the numbers by Flacco. He's been under pressure, he's been knocked down, hit, hurried, and harassed. But right now he's getting some rhythm, and he's got this defense back on their heels.
Gary Kubiak is going to burn a timeout. That is their first of 3 in the second half. Minute 20 gone by in the 4th. Ravens down 8. Early stages, 4th quarter. Joe Flacco and company, 2nd and 10 from the 20. There's a low pass right at the shoes of Jones. Incomplete. And the clock stops at 10:36. And a big decision here on 3rd and 10 for Gary Kubiak.
Yeah, in terms of what do you do? The tight ends, I think, have been a really good matchup. They're matching up. Owen Daniels, Dennis Pitta against these linebackers without Burfitt on the field. I think Kubiak, Flacco, they found that this defense for the Bengals has been easier to move the ball against without number 55 on the field.
3rd and 10. Flacco, middle, incomplete. Well, they went to the tight end, as Solomon pointed out. Not sure if there was a miscommunication there, but they weren't close. Pitta, the intended target.
Quarterback, receiver have to read the same defense. Now watch Pitta to the right of your screen. See, he's going to sit down. But see, Flacco expected him to keep coming, and that's the right thing to do. You get zone. See, he sits and stays. All he has to do is find the window. Understand that the quarterback is not going to throw it right at that linebacker who was in that scene. Find the window and then settle down. He settled down a bit too soon.
Solly, was that a misread in the huddle with the play call, or did they just have a different read after the snap?
No, it was after the snap. While running the route, you have to be able to read the coverage properly.
Justin Tucker bangs it in from 38. They salvage 3. Ravens inching closer early in the 4th.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. The Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. And by the all-new Chrysler 200, America's import.
Aerial coverage of today's game being provided by MetLife. Temperatures approaching 80 degrees on a beautiful Sunday afternoon, first Sunday of the new season. 10 straight points in the second half for Joe Flacco and the Ravens, and it is a 15-10 game favoring Cincinnati. Spiro Ditas, Solomon Wilcots, our entire CBS crew with you from M&T Bank Stadium, as Andy Dalton and company will have it from the 20. The premiere of Thursday Night Football on CBS and the NFL Network kicks off this Thursday when Pittsburgh takes on the Ravens. Another divisional game for Baltimore in the AFC North. Football starts here.
Of course, I'll be watching that game, working as well, but having fun while doing so. 4 days rest, and they go right back at it in the AFC North Division on Thursday night.
No rest for the weary for you, my friend. We will be watching that game, of course, on a Thursday. This is Gio Bernard. Boy, they needed that play in the worst possible way. 16-yard first down run by the second-year man from North Carolina.
What did Gio Bernard tell us about Hugh Jackson? He says, you know, he was my running back coach 1 year ago. He's coaching everyone in this office. He wants everything done, and he wants it done quickly. Speed, tempo, effort, energy is what Hugh Jackson coaching. You can see he's starting to get after these guys. Come off the ball, and let's go on the attack.
This is a Cincinnati team that a lot of the experts feel like will challenge, certainly for the AFC. As talented a team as there is on paper, and you just mentioned Hugh Jackson, who takes over, of course, for Jay Gruden, 3 years as their offensive coordinator. You couldn't have a more polar opposite guy in terms of personality going from one guy to the other.
There is no doubt about it. And what did Marvin Lewis tell us about Hugh Jackson? Said he is a demanding coach, and he never lets up. And he said, I'm not going to have to worry about if my coordinator is going to run the football when it's time to run it. Time to eat clock with a 5-point lead, keep the ball on the ground, but then convert on third downs.
Dalton on 2nd and 9. Look out. Bernard. That is a courageous play over the middle of the field. Asa Jackson went low. Bernard picks up 5 through the air.
How do you get lower than the 5'8" Giovanni Bernard? Asa Jackson knows how to do it. Gio's throwing his body around today. Taking one for the team. Excellent tackle.
I told you earlier, Lardarius Webb out again. Did not play at all in the preseason with a back injury. But this secondary has held up, at least till this point, for Harbaugh. 3rd and 4. Dalton's pass, incomplete. Shaquille Brown, the 4th-year man out of Texas. And Bernard heard the footsteps.
Shaquille Brown was in good position, but if you're Dalton, you got to put the ball on Giovanni Bernard sooner. You can't make him reach for it. You can't make him extend it. The sooner you get the ball to him in space, he can make one move on Brown, and he's got himself not only a first down, but a huge gain on the play.
Hubert at punt. Jones from his own 15. He's going to play it. Fumbles it. Jones, a second attempt at it. Boy, initially did not just fall on it, as you tell the guys to do. Just try to lean down, pick it up, and they dodge a bullet.
Everyone had an opportunity to recover this one. Ball slips away. The game nearly slips away from Jacoby Jones and the Baltimore Ravens after the late recovery.
Well, as a football fan, this is all you want. Opening day, 2 divisional opponents starting the season. Which of these teams would take a monstrous first step toward achieving their postseason goals here? 1st and 10 for Flacco. Back foot throw, off balance, able to locate Forsett. Forsett started the second half after beginning the game on the sideline, coming in for Bernard Pierce, who had to fumble over 60 yards on the ground.
Pressure in the face of Flacco. Gets rid of it quick, and watch 59 Lemire, even with a blocker on, able to submerge the play, getting at the feet of Justin Forsett and getting him on the ground, because had he not gone down there, he was going to have a nice gain on it.
Ravens pinned back. Flacco from inside the 5. Far side to Smith. Smith with 4 drops earlier, but now starting to show signs of his old self. And again, keep in mind, we mentioned no Vontaze Burfict's a concussion. We mentioned it earlier, lost in the second quarter. And that is something that they're still trying to recover from. And now another Bengals defender shaken up.
Another linebacker, Lemire, who's been making a lot of plays. He's a young, talented player starting to make a name for himself on this Bengals defense.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Quicken Loans for a mortgage experience that's engineered to amaze. And by Subway. Stay in summer shape with a Super Stack Protein Pack Subway Club. Subway, eat fresh.
From Inner Harbor, back inside M&T Bank Stadium. Big third and fourth play. Flacco going sideline. Finds his intended man. Quiet day so far for Torrey Smith, but the Maryland product picks up 10. They move the chains.
Terrence Newman locked down in coverage, in tight coverage, but then look at this. He just fights for the ball. Pushes Newman off, and Newman kind of had hold of him a little bit. Torrey Smith fights him off and still able to haul it in. Just wonderful competition competing for that pass.
Smith, who has made his bones as a deep long ball threat. Going underneath, as Solomon mentioned earlier. That's Forsett spinning his way across the 30. Late marker thrown. And this one behind the line of scrimmage appears to be against the Ravens. 8-yard run could be coming back.
Holding. Offense, number 60. 10-yard penalty, replay, first down.
Harbaugh looking displeased, obviously. We mentioned the perfect concussion. Leading tackler in the NFL, their best defender. This was the hit on Flacco leading with the helmet, Solomon, ending his day.
Yeah, and when he left the game, that's when the Baltimore Ravens offense started clicking. And now in the second half, without Burfict on the field in this Cincinnati Bengals defense, 177 total yards of offense by the Baltimore Ravens and Joe Flacco.
So big penalty. Pushes him back inside the 15-yard line. This is 1st and 20. Bengals showing blitz, and it was Margus Hunt at 6'8". Tough to throw it over this guy's head.
Told you it was some tall timber out there, didn't I? Wow. They call him the Eastern Block because he set an NCAA record for 8 block kicks during his time at SMU. And look at this. Athletic, nimble of foot, had a monstrous preseason where he had 4 sacks for these Bengals and really dominated in that final preseason game against the Indianapolis Colts.
6'8", 290. Took him in the second round back in 2013. Justin Forsett, the lone setback, 2nd and 20. Flacco has time. Completes. That's the tight end, Pitta. 6 yards, but dumped down right after the catch by Lemur. So Lemur shaken up a moment ago, looked like a knee. Had the interception earlier.
Lemur is an athletic linebacker for Paul Gunther. Taught him coming into this defense, and he's a guy that can cover in space. You can see he matches up well against these tight ends, a little bit nicked up. But right now you have to wonder, where is that energy? Where is that playmaker on the defense who can rise up and make a play when they need it most? And now they cannot allow Flacco to convert a 3rd and 14 situation.
Biggest play of the day for the Ravens offense. Flacco looking right. Near side across his body with the throw. He's got Smith. Caught. 20, 10. Smith breaks a tackle and he's in. Baltimore with its first lead on a stunning turn of events.
The Bengals knew it would happen. They said Flacco is at his best when he's extending plays and rolling out. He wants to go deep. He signaled for Steve Smith to take off running, and that's when he was able to separate in coverage against Adam Jones. And the determination to not only catch it, and then to shake off Jones to get it into the end zone, it's a testament to the 13-year veteran. Watch the play. And you're going to see he runs the route, breaks it off. See, right now he's covered. But then when he extends, look, he takes off. And Adam Jones drops coverage. And now he knows he's going to get caught. Look at the stiff arm. Fights him off. And he's going to walk in from there. Just a heady play by the 13-year veteran.
And an easy decision here for John Harbaugh. They will go for 2. Up 1. What a response by the KG veteran Steve Smith. Ravens debut after 13 years in Carolina. Had the 4 drops earlier. He's got 7 catches, 118 yards, 80 of them coming on that play.
The extra point doesn't no good. You got to go for 2, right?
Draw play to Forsett. Right at the goal line. He didn't get in. play by the Bengals defense to keep it in a one-point game.
And you had to go for it because you want a 3-point lead, not a 2-point lead. 2-point lead doesn't save you from the Bengals getting the ball and being able to kick a field goal and recapturing the lead. So you go for 2, trying to make sure that you have a 3-point lead. But you can see at the bottom of the pile, they were able to come away with a stop.
Well, Bengals defense that has been so stout today and so sure in that back end makes a critical mistake here.
He goes there, and then he gets deep. And you can see Adam Jones lined up some 12 yards deep. Just stay deep. Don't let him throw it over your head. And now he's in no man's land. He's in trouble. As you can see, Flacco extends the play and throws it deep beyond the defense.
Jones just had no idea that Smith was behind him.
Yeah.
Until it was too late.
He didn't backpedal, and then that stiff arm right there. He actually grabbed the face mask of Adam Jones and threw him to the ground, blocking the vision of the official.
A Ravens drive that started at their own 10. 6 plays, 90 yards. They get an 80-yard touchdown pass on a 3rd and 14 play.
Well, they had played so well into the Bengals' hand. Marvin Lewis told us, he said, we cannot allow Joe Flacco to throw the ball over our heads, and we'll win this game. And now it's happened. It's happened late in the 4th quarter, and now the Bengals have squandered a 15-point lead, which they had at halftime.
Ravens get fortunate there. That one nearly out of bounds before it crossed the goal line. And how about this scenario now? If you're Andy Dalton, up 15-0 at halftime, suddenly nothing going right. Fresh off that new contract extension, we talked about it at the top. Cincinnati trying to go from good to elite, and it really is Andy Dalton's show. And now you put it on his shoulders down a point under 6 minutes left.
But we talked about this in the first half. We kind of said that these field goals weren't going to be enough. You just knew they weren't going to be enough in this home opener where the Baltimore Ravens have won 8 straight season openers right here at home.
Dalton goes draw play to Bernard. Picks up a couple. Darryl Smith makes the tackle. Dalton has never won in Baltimore. 0-3 in his young career.
Yeah, touchdowns, wins games in the National Football League, not field goals. And so if you're the Cincinnati Bengals and Hugh Jackson, as good as your offense has been today to kick 5 field goals, you know you got to stick it into the end zone ultimately to come away with a win here. And now that's where they're at with just about 5 minutes to go in the ballgame.
Bengals have all 3 timeouts, 2nd and 7. Dalton's going to take his shot. Near side, it is caught. A.J. Green cutting back, and he's in.
Wow. So Flacco goes deep, and now does Dalton to A.J. Green.
77 yards as Green puts them back in their seats here in Baltimore.
Shockey Brown, 23, get deep, and A.J. goes right by him. He does recover, nearly distracting Green on the catch. This is a bobble, and now you see 24, Darian Stewart. He comes over. He can't keep Green from making the play or getting into the end zone. What a well of a play by the talented A.J. Green.
The 26-year-old star with a quick answer. 77 yards. And now the Bengals are going to go for 2.
Now they're going for 2. And what did Marvin Lewis tell us? He said that Andy Dalton simply has a knack for winning games.
Struggled at times with the deep ball last year. Certainly on some of those picks. But that play, all A.J. Green. Dalton throwing near side. Sanu caught it. Was he in?
Wow.
Yes.
Dalton, 2 daggers. One for the touchdown to A.J. Green, and then another for the 2-pointer to Mohamed Sanu. Here's Sanu in the slot, runs the out in front of the defender. He's a big-bodied wide receiver. This is like basketball and going up for a rebound in front of Asa Jackson. Look at that. Hauls it in, good catch. Officials in great position to make the call. Catch, control, 2 feet in bounds for the 2-point conversion.
And keep in mind, A.J. Green hooking up with Andy Dalton last year. in the matchup here. The 50-yard Hail Mary sent the game into overtime, a game that the Ravens ultimately won on a field goal. But Green has had some incredible moments against the Ravens.
You know, look at this. This is, you know, Brown tries to recover. He does a good job getting the hand in right there, but A.J. Green stays with it, still able to haul it in. And then has awareness enough to elude the secondary defender and still get it in. And everything he does, he makes it look easy. Maybe most receivers are distracted and not going to haul that one in. Certainly not going to keep their balance and be able to elude another closing in defender and still walk in easy for the touchdown. And Dalton said, that is my man. You can't ask for a better receiver to go up top to than A.J. Green.
Well, Dalton knew at some point he was going to have to win in this stadium. Hasn't done it yet, but he can smell it here with just inside of 5 minutes left. A.J. Green, not only that Hail Mary touchdown here, also in the regular season finale in Cincinnati at a 53-yard touchdown. He has wrecked this Ravens secondary over the last couple of years. This is Jones trying to make something out of nothing across the 10, dragged down at the 12. And now all the pressure back on the shoulders of Joe Flacco. He's been here before. Down 7 with 2 timeouts left.
A couple of home runs by each quarterback. We kind of thought that's what would happen after all the dinking and dunking, the short throws by Dalton to his receivers, Flacco's to his guys, and Dalton just goes right up top to A.J. Green connecting on the long ball, and Flacco getting one to Steve Smith. I think if you're a secondary defender at this point in the game, you think we have to tell you to stay deep, Spiro?
Just the mistake that you don't expect at that juncture of the game. 1st and 10, Flacco feels the pocket squeeze around him, completes to Pitta. Close to the first down at the 20, couple of yards short. Tackle made by Vincent Ray, who's come on in relief of Perfect, who left with the concussion.
And if you're the Cincinnati Bengals now, you don't want to give up anything. You want to play and contest every throw, even underneath, but you can't let them get the cheap one. Paul Gunther's telling that secondary, stay deep. And at the end of the day, if they catch it underneath, rally to make the tackle. Don't allow yards after the catch. Don't allow them to slip away, but certainly you want to defend the end zone.
See the discrepancy in total yards first to second half. That's Forsett. He has been one of the catalysts, certainly in the second half, taking over for Bernard Pierce, if you've just joined us. 7 yards, first down, tackled by Gilberry.
Yeah, and I'm impressed with Justin Forsett. 11 carries now, 70 yards rushing. And again, and really it's about his ability to break tackles. He's getting hit, but he's continuing to fall forward and get extra yards after contact.
You see Steve Smith lined up out of your picture. 1st and 10 play thrown behind Smith. Those two have just not been on the same page today.
Well, it's the underneath throws. Flacco said it. Said, you know, he's great at running the 9 route, is Torrey Smith. But reading coverages appropriately and understanding how to settle down, how to sit, when to continue running against man-to-man coverage. Against zone coverage, you got to sit and settle and find the holes. Quarterbacks have to throw with anticipation, but they need the receivers anticipating as accurately as the quarterback.
Only 2 catches today for Torrey Smith. 2nd and 10 over the middle. There he is. He's got it. First down and a lot more. Across the 50, 25 yards before he's stopped by Iloka.
He was slicing and dicing on this one. Coming underneath. Watch him come underneath Adam Jones. And then by, is that Leon Hall? And then he nearly broke the tackle by Reggie Nelson. Took George Iloka to bring him down to keep him from getting into the end zone.
Well, you can keep him down, but he's so dangerous. Over the middle, that's Forsett, playing with his 5th team in 7 years. Ray Maluga, the inside linebacker, now taking on a bigger role in the absence of Perfect. 6-yard play.
Ravens said they wanted to run the football. I think they must have been just kidding. Flacco already has attempted 55 passes in the ball game. That's not the normal formula or recipe they want for winning, but they'll take it any way they can get it to that.
Smith getting reset, bottom of your screen. Jacoby Jones just to his right. Quick throw by Flacco. They pick up the first down. Caught by Aiken. 3rd reception of the half. 8 yards and another first down.
And this is just too easy now. Protection is there for Flacco. The coverage is starting to break down in Paul Gunther's defense. They can attack over there with Terrence Newman, where they've been able to make some catches. and the separation between he and the receivers is very apparent. They going again there.
Quick snap, first down play. They find Aiken again, and this will take us to the 2-minute warning. Terrence Newman on the tackle. And how about this finish? Flacco down 7 at home. 2 minutes left on CBS. Dramatic finish in Baltimore. Antsy fans. 7-point Cincinnati lead. Can they hold on with what would be a monstrous road victory to start the season?
You can see this Baltimore Ravens offense. They've been red hot here in the second half.
Ravens had just 97 yards of total offense in the first half. They've got 324 in the second. Flacco's throw incomplete. That's what you might call a medicine ball. Jones kind of sprawling himself out, and that'll set up a big 3rd and short.
And rule of thumb is in the secondary, you intercept all tips and overthrows. Ball off the hand of the receivers. George Iloka closing in rather quickly. Maybe could have intercepted that ball after it had been tipped by Jacoby Jones. That's what Marvin Lewis talked about. Said we're going to have opportunities to intercept balls. Got to get our hands on them. Now on 3rd and 2, you got to tighten up coverage, but don't let them get behind you.
4 down territory here. You'd have to think inside of 2 minutes. They do have 2 timeouts. First down play. Flacco to Jones. Adam Jones very upset. May have thought that he was pushed off there. 6 yard by Jones.
He's got to be careful. He's got to be careful talking to the officials. It's a nice, well-designed play. And look, it just turns out. See, that's what he was saying. He was saying he was picked. And that's the new rule that they are enforcing. It's a point of emphasis. Any block downfield before the ball is caught beyond 1 yard, they're supposed to throw the flag there. The timing on that was a little bit sketchy.
That's a pretty good argument.
It's a good argument, but I understand the officials as well, because the timing there is, I think, the issue.
1st and 10, little screen pass, but the Bengals sniff it out. Reggie Nelson, the 8-year vet out of Florida, dumps him down for a loss of 4. And now the clock continues to run. $1:35 with 2 timeouts left.
And the Baltimore Ravens, they need a touchdown. If you are going to settle for a field goal here, and clearly, why would you on 2nd and 14? Look at the numbers for Flacco. Challenge this secondary. They appear to be back on their heels. You're getting receivers open. Go for the touchdown in the game winner right here, at least to tie it up.
Flacco trying to bounce back from the worst statistical season of his career. Completes over the middle to Pitta. They're inside the red zone now. Clock continues to run. 69 seconds, and they will take their second timeout. They'll have 1 more left. And we go back to that botched play, Solomon, at the end of the first half.
That's right.
And we're in field goal territory. Tried to run one final play before they set up.
They could have had a field goal there.
Terrible mistake.
Could have had a field goal there, and right now they'd be going in for the game winner, okay, with 3 extra points in their pocket, looking to take the lead and get out of here with a win after trailing 15-0 at the half. They could have had 3 points before the half. Had Flacco made a better decision to throw the ball away, they could have come away with a field goal there.
There's Marvin Lewis, says this is the most talented Bengals team he has had in the 12 years he's been in Cincinnati. Expectations have never been higher either. 3rd and 4. Lewis asking his defense for 1 more stop. His best defender, if you've just joined us, Vontaze Burfict, out since the 2nd quarter with a concussion. 3rd and 4. Flacco under duress, set.
Wow, what a play.
Wallace Gilberry with the biggest defensive play of the day for the Bengals.
They have been struggling to get to Flacco. He's mobile for a big guy, but watch Gilberry goes outside and then comes around. He was lined up inside at a tackle position, but he loops all the way around and able to pressure Flacco, get the ankle tackle for a sack. And now it looks like they are going to go for it. And there you see watch Gilberry start, and he comes all the way around. He was lined up inside against, there it is, Wagner, the right tackle. Can't keep him off the legs of Flacco.
And that also forces the Ravens, Solomon, to burn their final timeout. There's Gilberry, the 7th-year man, tied for their team lead in sacks last season. 7.5 despite being a backup.
Game on the line here,
and this is it, 4th and 9. They'll mark it at the 21-yard line. The Ravens against the Cincinnati team that knocked them off their perch atop the division last year. 4th and 9. Down 7, empty backfield, 5 wides. Flacco going down again. Reggie Nelson, Wallace Gilberry getting there, and they are heading for the parking lot here in Baltimore.
Wow. Right tackle, Rick Wagner, Marshall Yonder, right guard. They run a game and they bring the blitzing Reggie Nelson, and you're going to see him. Look, he's lined up here. He's going to come, but look, see, there's the stress point right there. You've got at least 4 guys, but look, 3 guys to block 4. They don't pick them up. In fact, 2 come free. Nelson, as well as one of the other defensive linemen, causing confusion in the minds of the right guard and right tackle. So Wallace Gilberry is able to leak through, so is Reggie Nelson. Well-timed, well-disguised on the blitz by Paul Gunther's defense.
Paul Gunther, the 42-year-old defensive coordinator, taking over from Mike Zimmer, the coordinator for the last 6 years. And this their first real test of the new season, and boy did they hold. 2 straight sacks to put the game on ice.
Big win for the Bengals on the road. They snap a 4-game losing streak on the road at M&T Bank Stadium, and an 8-game consecutive home opening winning streak is now done by the Baltimore Ravens.
It ends a 14-game home winning streak of the month of September. Andy Dalton wins in Baltimore for the first time in his career. And the Cincinnati Bengals take a huge first step with a road win here in Week 1.
Even Terrell Suggs, and sure he's going to rethink this statement when he said this is like 2 losses, winning inside of the division at home to the defending champion Cincinnati Bengals.
Final score 23-16 coming up. NFL Today with bonus coverage. Jacksonville in Philly. Now for Solomon Wilcott's, our entire crew, Spiro Thetis saying so long from Baltimore. You've been watching the NFL on CBS. We now go to James Brown in New York.